The Great Muta with Gary Hart taking on Cougar Jay here in World Championship Wrestling. And while they're making their way to the ring, we'll remind you fans, this Monday night, big event in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Tuesday night in Columbia, South Carolina. Thursday night, the NWA will be in Raleigh. And Friday night, traveling to Norfolk, Virginia, Scope Coliseum. And there is our first look at the Great Muta here on World Championship Wrestling. Then he's got a great athletic body. Very body fat. And an explosive charge here on Cougar Jay. High elevation. He really has an unusual style, but his feet are as deadly as anything you'll ever see.
We'll talk about explosive execution. That first spinning kick, we didn't even get it all on camera, but this guy's quick.
Oh, crossbody right over the top rope. Man, he's got his hands taped very uniquely as well. I wonder what the significance of that could be. This man was, look at that agility. Tremendous move coming back into the ring, needless to say. And there's a karate thrust right to the throat. Cougar Jay gallantly trying to fight back against this phenomenal wrestling machine from the Orient. Vicious elbow drop. Matsuda has presented Gary Hart with a great treasure from the land of the rising sun.
Jim, I got to say, this guy's every bit as devastating as he said. I thought maybe he was just blowing a little smoke there in the beginning, but...
And that karate kick, what a move right there. You heard it smack the face of Cougar Jay, a deadly weapon. Well, I want to say something. Gary Hart may have just, this is a coup. We're going to talk to Gary Hart in just a moment. Michael, I don't think any of them have been blessed with more ability and can execute more unique maneuvers than this man in the ring now with Gary Hart.
I'd have to agree with you.
Wrestling fans, the following contest, it is set for one fall with a 30-minute time limit. Introducing first in the corner to my left, Gary Hart presents, from the land of the rising sun, the Pearl of the Orient, the Great Muta. And wrestling fans, his opponent, hailing from Dallas, Texas, weighing 234 pounds, Stephen Casey.
Tremendous challenge for that young man from the Metroplex. And there you see the son of the great Kabuki, as we have been told by Gary Hart. The bell has sounded. One of the most bizarre athletes, and he goes through this meditation, a ritual, if you will, and it's as if he puts himself into a competitive trance, Michael Hayes.
Well, Jim Ross, I don't know if it's that bizarre. It may be to you because maybe you're not used to really concentrating on something, but the guy's here to make money, and now's the time to put it all in gear, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Well, you know, back up in Westfield, Oklahoma, we didn't see too many folks like this right here, to be honest with you.
Back in Westfield, Oklahoma, you probably didn't see much of anything. And, you know, speaking of the Superdome, Jim, being here and being that I still do hold the attendance record here, but I tell you what, it may be in jeopardy today with this tremendous crowd we have on hand.
Great crowd on hand, beautiful day outside here in New Orleans, and man, there it is.
Oh, what a mistake by Casey. He rushed him and he got it. Now his vision has got to be impaired right there.
And he doesn't need any disadvantages with this man. This Ladies and gentlemen, is one of the most talented athletes I have ever seen. The great Muta, and he knows no fear. Talk about death-defying moves. He is uncanny, and he is undefeated also in the NWA.
Here he comes with that handspring elbow. That move that Casey did when he rushed him there, that was a do-or-die move. If he'd have done it successfully, everybody thought he was one of the smartest guys around. It didn't work, though. And now he's in a reverse chin lock, and look at the eyes. The concentration. Gary Hart has got him a Pearl of the Orient is exactly right.
Muta controlling Stephen Casey's side headlock. Casey shoots him off for the ride. Nice tackle by the man from the Rising Sun. Great agility. Oh, good move by Casey. Great arm drag takeover and a leg drop right on the bicep.
Great snap arm drag off the rope. Not an easy move to execute.
Nice move. Casey now being backed into the corner. Very dangerous position with Muta.
Got to watch his feet. Whoa! Jumped up double mule kick.
Standing position.
And I'm going to tell you, you talk about it, Stephen Casey's got quite a following since he's joined the NWA here. But I don't know. Look out!
He's on the top turnbuckle. Gary Hart standing over Casey, and Hart is eased him back into the ring.
What a compassionate man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh, there was no compassion there. He drop kicked him right off the top rope.
Boy, did it snap his neck.
I don't know the significance. He puts his fingers in his mouth. I would like for someone to explain the significance of that to me.
Well, just kind of the same way when a pitcher, between each pitch, and he rubs the ball on his shoulder form and in his mouth and all that. Actually, it's really none of your business.
Well, I'm going to ask Gary Hart sometime.
Well, why don't you do that?
I'm going to. I'm intrigued about this athlete. No one has been able to even come close to pinning this man since his debut in the NWA. And now he's got a wrist lock on Stephen Casey. I'll tell you something, his high-flying moves remind me of the new television champion, the Stinger. They have several like moves as far as coming off the top rope, and their agility is concerned. And we'll see Sting defend his TV title for the first time on national television today.
Oh, what a ham.
Casey with a wrist lock.
I'll tell you this, Casey, he will not quit.
They don't call him Chopper for nothing.
That's right, affectionately known as Chopper. And as I started to say, he's got quite a following here in the NWA since joining in January. Good reversal to the leg.
Single leg pickup now, stretching that hamstring out. His quickness and his ability to rise to another level it's just unbelievable. He's graced with tremendous talents, and with Gary Hart's so-called motivation and teaching, spinning leg lock.
Spinning toe hold. Could have a submission right here. I think Casey's close to giving it up.
Wrenching back on the leg. That's certainly going to lessen Casey's mobility. Ladies and gentlemen, tremendous challenge coming up. Uh-oh. It's almost a version of the Indian Deathlock. Dude knows something about Indians coming from Oklahoma.
I'll bet you do. And you know, we were just talking about, there he goes again to the eyes.
So the nerves, I mean, it's like in the temple region, those pressure points, so painful, and he's got so much strength in his hand. And right to the trapezius muscle.
You know, Jim, I was talking earlier about the attendance record. There was one man that shares that with me, and that's the guy I faced here some 9 years ago, and he's coming up next, and he's going to have the match of his life. And I'm talking about the Junkyard Dog against my man, Hacksaw Butch Reed.
Certainly appreciate you fans being with us here on the Superstation. Oh, gosh, what a kick. Man, he spun in midair and just tattooed Casey right in the face. And Casey once again being punished.
Whoa, going right to the... Now, he might have a little bit of trouble getting here because Casey does have big lat muscles. He might have been better off to stay up around the neck. So he had to go in and get a grip again.
The Japanese showing this. He's hard to prepare for another athlete because his style is so unique.
5 minutes.
He's still wrenching down on it, still to come. As Michael Hayes mentioned, Junkyard Dog and Hacksaw Reed, Dick Murdoch and Bob Orton. The Road Warriors, Dr. Death and Mike Rotunda for the World Tag Team Championship. Our first of 5 title defenses here live this afternoon. And Casey is fighting back. The youngster from Texas has got a lot of heart. He missed with that kick, and Casey.
Good clothesline.
Casey caught him, and now that may be the break that he needs.
Gary Hart looks a little concerned over there in the corner. I don't think he expected that from Casey.
Casey backing Muta into the rope, sends him for the ride. Nice elbow, down goes.
And he's got the leg hooked.
Only got a 1 count out of it.
That's right. Good drop kick. He's got to stay on him. Muta can come out of anywhere with any move. Casey bails him out of the corner, Jim.
Casey brought him out of the corner. Now Casey's showing some fire, but he made a big mistake there. Went for a high-risk maneuver, the drop kick. Did not go to the pay window on that one.
No, and I bet you he's got a bruised knee from that. Slow to get up.
Muta with a big chop. Casey fights back with an American right. Goes, oh, what a spinning reverse kick. Tremendous move there. What?
No!
Oh, he's over the top rope. Ooh, what a move. All the way over the top rope.
Look at the concentration, Jim. A flying body press. You've got to be able to concentrate to hit a man out on the concrete floor with that.
And now Casey is in dire straits here.
Into the railing.
Muta sends it to the railing.
Watch this. Whoa! This man has no regard for his body, much less his opponent's.
Brings Casey back into the ring by the hair. What a phenomenal move this man has made here in the NWA. Leaping back into the ring.
I wonder if we're going to see that phenomenal. This could be it. Could this be the backflip off the top? The only man in professional wrestling to execute a move anything like this. There he goes.
Wow! Gosh almighty, what a move. A blind 360.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, the Great Muta.
He remains undefeated, ladies and gentlemen. This man has got to be considered a bona fide contender for any championship available in the NWA.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your television main event. Introducing from Orlando, Florida, Scott Hall. Entering the ring area, the Pearl of the Orient, from the land of the rising sun, Gary Hart presents the Great Muta.
Fans, I want to remind you once again that the NWA tomorrow night will be in Fort Worth, Texas. Promoter Tim Willis put together a great card in Fort Worth. It's at next to Billy Bob's at the Cowtown Coliseum. And this Monday night will be in Lubbock, Texas. And this Tuesday night, the Great American Bash will stop in the Amarillo Civic Center. This Sunday night in Fort Worth, Monday night in Lubbock, Tuesday night in Amarillo, and this coming Friday night, a super event. It's the Great American Bash in Dayton, Ohio.
I'm looking forward to going back to Texas. And I'm looking forward to this main event. Muta's undefeated. And you know, a lot of you other announcers who don't study the backgrounds of wrestlers as in-depth as I do, don't mention the fact, beautiful. Nice green spout. His martial arts background.
What's that spray have to do with anything as far as wrestling?
What's it to you?
Well, you're the expert. You're the damn historian.
That's right. And the history of this man is jiu-jitsu, kung fu, taekwondo, everyone he's a master at. And that's something that Stink has got to deal with.
Sting, with
Stink.
a G, not K.
K, Stink.
Scott Hall, 6'6", 265, outstanding young competitor.
Yes, he is.
Stepping into the big leagues here in the NWA, and can he stop the unbeaten streak here on this main event? It's Scott Hall's very first main event here on Superstation TBS.
Go behind, nice reversal by Scott Hall. Back to an arm twist and a reversal by Hall. Good move. If I was Hall, I would mainly think about trying to keep a hold on Muta and keep his aerial attack on the ground.
We're going to be talking to Gary Hart sometime in the hour, hopefully after this contest, here at our set.
Good move there by Muta. He went for the arm drag takeover. Hall, though, held on very tightly, and it proved to be an advantage move for him, but Muta broke out of this. Both men are very easygoing right now, feeling each other out. Hall, if you'll notice, it's hard to see from this far away. His eyes have been on Muta's feet the whole time. And I got a feeling he'll be seeing a little bit closer view of him before long.
Perhaps you're right. Full Nelson there applied by the great Muta.
Good power out by Hall. I don't understand the strategy so far where Muta's trying to out-wrestle him power for power. I don't believe he'll get far that way. But another nice reversal by the Pearl of the Orient.
He's got the wrist lock. Don't forget, fans, to join Paulie Dangerously and I tomorrow night, 6:05 here on the Superstation for the NWA main event. That's tomorrow night at 6:05, our main event. In the hour will be the Fabulous Freebirds taking on the Midnight Express and Dr. Death in a 6-man tag team war. I understand it was your all's challenge. You wanted the match, which I found surprising.
Why surprising? Well, we never back down from a fight.
A match this big, with this many great stars, this close to the big spectacular in Baltimore. I guess I have to tip my hat to you. It does go to your credit.
Good move there. A clean break by Muta. Then he did the flying spin kick, and now he's letting loose. There's those Japanese chops. Jim Ross, if there's a TV camera around, the Freebirds will be on there to show their stuff.
Don't forget, fans, 1 week from tonight, the Great American Bash will stop in Philadelphia at the Civic Center.
And that's where the Midnight Express is going to stop, too.
And 1 week from tomorrow afternoon, the big one. They call it the granddaddy of them all. This is one wrestling event to be just see one a year. See the Great American Bash from Baltimore on pay-per-view television. Call your local cable company. I'd suggest you do it this Monday morning. Make your plans. A lot of people are going to have bash parties. A lot of friends over.
Good move there, and he hurt Muta.
Nice move there by Scott Hall. And Muta out there conversing with Uncle Fester.
What do you mean, Uncle Fester? That is an evil genius. That is a man that deserves respect and commands it, Gary Hart. You know, in just a few weeks, we're going to be looking at probably a new world heavyweight champion. We're going to be looking at Muta as the new world television champion. A lot of changing of the guards is going to be happening on the 23rd.
We got a capacity crowd here at the Cobb County Convention Center. And the great Muta now, after receiving the instructions of Gary Hart, does a look at this phenomenal crowd. We'll see how much the strategy works here.
There's always big crowds when the Freebirds are around, man. Not just the Freebirds, just the NWA period. You should know that by now.
Muta going downstairs and it up on the good-looking youngster from Orlando, Florida. Snapmare takes him over.
Good reverse chin lock. And you notice so far, what are we, 4 or 5 minutes into this match and not one cover. Nobody's gone for a pin yet. They're both very tentative of each other's experiences and abilities.
I know Sting is really looking forward to this contest. Will he be the guy that can stop the unbeaten streak, or will it be young Scott Hall here on the main event?
Whether Scott Hall does it or not, I don't believe Sting can. There's our first one. Close, 2 count.
A near fall. We don't see Muta. And after the big thrust kick, that reverse kick by the great Muta.
Just when you think you got things going your way with him, he comes out of nowhere with it. Is this the handspring? No. Good reversal followed by a clothesline. I think Muta was going to go for his famed handspring.
Oh, the nice front kick. The big man got up in the air there. He's 6'6", 265. Shows great agility and great athletic ability. Clothesline, knocking Muta out to the floor. And Scott Hall is looking terrific thus far in this contest.
Yes, he is, but the problem is he's got to put the man's shoulders on the mat for a 3 count to look as good as he wants, and now he's got a chokehold. Look at the strength. Oh!
He just sprayed the green, and now it's
well, that's what he gets.
How'd he do that?
What does it matter to you? He did it.
He's taking the tape off.
That's right.
He's choking him.
What's good for the goose?
Hall can't even see. His face is covered with a red spray. He sprayed green in the first of the match, and now red. This is uncanny.
He shouldn't have. He was choking him, had the man up over the ropes. Muta had to defend himself.
He's trying to choke the air out of him. Working on the oxygen there. Choking him viciously. The Kalani right to the throat. It was right to the throat, Michael Hayes. 1, 2, and 3, and man is still undefeated.
Yes, he is. You better think about this.
The event, the great Muta.
Scott Hall had it going his way.
Wrestling fans, Introducing first the challenger. Gary Hart presents, from the land of the rising sun, the Pearl of the Orient, the Great Muta.
He is undefeated, Bob. This is one match of many that I'm sure the fans have tuned in on this broadcast to see. The Great Muta and the Stinger. And we'll have the Stinger's introduction upcoming.
And ladies and gentlemen, his opponent, hailing from Venice Beach, California. He weighs 252 pounds. He is the World Television Champion, accompanied to the ring by Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. The champion is Sting.
As this crowd rises to their feet in this one, the television championship of the world will be on the line here. The Stinger with one of the most impressive one-loss records in the NWA history. But he's going against a man that has never been beaten, has never been pinned since he arrived in the NWA. Oh, it's the irresistible force and the immovable object in this one.
Well, I tell you, we've seen Sting defend that championship a number of times, come home in a winner. But he's never been tested like he's going to be tested right now by the Great Muta.
And at the same respect, the undefeated Great Muta has not been tested like he will be tested by the Stinger in this one. Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert at ringside to neutralize any attempted activity by one Gary Hart. And we both know that Gary Hart certainly likes to get involved if he has the opportunity.
Well, that's one of the keys, I think, for Sting, that he's got to watch out for Gary Hart. He's got to some way be sure that Hart doesn't manage to have a bearing on the outcome. Also, he's got to find some way to control this man, to control Muta. As you said, Jim, no other wrestler has been able to do that in the NWA.
All right, Sting getting ready to get on. All the way over. Oh, what a move there. From one ring to the other. It's starting out quickly here. They are cooking here now. Gary Hart trying to get away from Sting. Hart wants no part of the Stinger. Now there's Muta on top. Muta with a big karate chop off the top rope, or a judo chop, I should say. Another judo chop to the head. The battle of the paint for the World's Television Championship. Irish whip, there goes the Stinger. That power elbow by Muta. Scoop slam into the backbreaker. He's going to try to end it right now. Very, very quickly. Going up top for the moonsault. There he is. Sting moved and he Muta landed on his feet. The karate kick. But that one worked. The first one did not. Sting knocked all the way out to the floor by the thrust kick.
Well, the athletic ability.
Oh, high cross body all the way over the top rope to Sting, who was on the floor. It's high risk city.
The athletic ability of Muta is really coming to the forefront right now. You know, he's got moves in the ring, Jim, that we've never seen from another wrestler. This guy's unbelievable.
The Great Muta in his first championship event in the NWA. Sting meets him on the apron with a big kick right to the midsection. Follows it with an American clothesline. Made in the USA, this kid from Venice Beach. Clothesline off the top rope. One. He got two out of it, Nick Patrick says. Standing drop kick.
Well, a few of those are slowing down, and that's what he needs to do.
Watch the Stinger, watch him. Leaps over the top. They're right here in the aisle. They've got to be careful not to be counted out. Muta rolls back into the ring, and Sting follows him. Right now, the Stinger with those clubbing blows, maintaining the momentum and controlling the contest.
If he can land several of those, he can slow Muta down, and that's what he needs to do. Right there's where he needs him, off his feet, on the mat. Keep him on the mat for a while.
Muta, great agile move there. Now he's got Sting in that Oriental his neck back vertical. Now Muta back at the reverse chin lock. Lost a sleeper advantage there. But now is trying to crimp the neck. The Stinger's got to keep his neck straight. Do not restrict the flow of blood.
Earlier we talked about the skyscrapers and how big and strong they were with the ability they got. Sting is another one that fits into that category, Jim. He's got muscle, power, and size, but he's also got the speed, the quickness, and the agility there.
Muta with a big right hand. Downstairs on Stinger. Sting 6'2", 255. Oh, look at the strength. Extending the arms in the military press position. High elbow, but Muta moved out of the way.
That one might have sent him home, but he missed it.
The Stinger defending his championship, his first major championship here in the NWA. Muta going for his first major championship. I'm sure back in California, the man that trained Sting, former wrestler Red Bastien, is watching in on this event. Hot stuff, Eddie Gilbert's feeling the heat.
Yeah, he's sweating a little bit out there, and with every reason, too. As we mentioned, this has got to be the toughest challenge that Sting has ever faced. I don't think he'll ever face a tougher one.
Muta with that knee into the spine of Sting as a leverage point, pulling back on the neck.
The guy's got so many weapons in that arsenal of his. You know, he's a master of about, I don't know, what, 6 or 7 different martial arts, Jim, in addition to being an outstanding wrestler in the ring. The guy's got all kind of weapons in that arsenal.
Muta now the abdominal stretch on the Stinger, using the ropes for leverage. You can see the tension is placing on Sting's abdomen and his ribs, drawing them taut.
Well, they're out near the center of the ring, too. Sting can't make the ropes, and right now to get to the rope, hey, he may turn it around. Boy, look at the power in Sting. Now, Jim, that takes a lot of strength and power there. You don't see that happen very often.
Sting trying to free himself this thing, perhaps with a hip lock. But Muta's got that leg. You can see Muta's leg intertwined with Sting's left leg. Now he takes him back, pinning predicament here. 1, 2, and Sting rolled off his shoulders. Got 2 out of it, and Muta with the elbow to the back of the neck.
Muta's so quick, Jim. He's
very quick. Sting rolls right back in the ring, ready to fight. Oh, but Muta with those fingers right to the eyes. He didn't rake the eyes. He put the points of the fingers right into both eyes of the Stinger.
Sting now, at least for the moment, is momentarily blinded by that.
Oh, you can hear that karate kick right to the solar plexus, and another one downstairs to the midsection.
Boy, he's using all the power and force he's got with those blows to the midsection, trying to cut him right in half.
Sting goes for the ride. Muta with that power elbow drop. Clothesline. The Stinger now on fire. Muta straight down, face first to the canvas. They have turned the burner up on this one.
A couple of really good moves by Sting has turned it around, and now it's going his way. Muta very wisely underneath the ropes and out of the ring, and now Hart's gonna try to keep him there for a moment to slow it down a little bit. Boy, Sting had it going.
Muta very cautious to crawl back in the ring. Sent for the ride. Ooh, oh,
the referee's eye.
He sprayed red right in Nick Patrick's face. And Stinger now to take over on Muta. Sends him for the ride. There's a Stinger splash, but Muta moved. Sting is in trouble. Nick Patrick has been sprayed right in the face inadvertently by Muta. It was intended for Sting. There's referee Tommy Young down there. Muta up top. There's the moonsault. He's got Sting beat here with the moonsault. Tommy Young. Oh, he got 2.
Only 2.
I thought he had him. I thought that Muta had Sting. The match continues. Look at that suplex. 1, them got a shoulder injury. All right, both men were down. Who's won it?
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner and still World Television Champion, Sting!
Well, we got some controversy here. Let's keep it right here before we go to the replay. Eddie Gilbert embracing the Stinger here.
Hart in there talking. Well, wait a minute. He laid the belt down. Hart took the belt, gave it to Muta. They've got the championship belt over in their corner.
Well, we had both men's shoulders were down. That was the controversial part. I think the referees may have a somewhat of a discrepancy here. Nick Patrick cannot see.
We've been waiting for it the entire Power Hour, and now it's time. The wrestlers are ready. The announcers are ready. The fans are ready. And we are ready. It's time for this week's Power Hour main event. Let's go to the arena.
What an ovation from this capacity crowd here watching the NWA Wrestling Power Hour. Perhaps the most popular athlete in all of professional sports right there in your camera. Coming right into your living room. And he is ready for the fight of his life here on the Superstation.
Say what you want to about anybody, and there's some top talent in the NWA right now, Jim Ross, but this thunderous ovation, you're looking at the future of the NWA right on your television screen. I think so. It's going to be Sting.
The introduction made it very clear that this is for the disputed television championship because of the decision and the controversy from the Great American Bash Glory Days in Baltimore. We have gone until this date with no television champion. And these men have had war after war. It is taking its physical toll on both men. But right here on national television, they hope to settle it.
They should settle the issue. They want to settle the issue, and I know what's got to play heavy on their minds. One of these men wants to go into the Clash of Champions September the 12th. They want to go in with an advantage. If Sting could take that TV title tonight, he would have a mental advantage over the great Muta. Same goes if Muta could take it, and he's going right out fast.
We saw what happened last week on the Superstation. Dick Slater and the Stinger, and of course Slater's arm was broken in the process by Nature Boy Ric Flair using Terry Funk's branding iron. I think if the lines have been clearly drawn, that a win in this match would obviously give him a great deal of momentum going into the Clash, but an injury is also extremely important, and I think foremost in the mind of a man like Gary Hart. And you being a great manager, you know how great managers think.
And Gary Hart, whether you like him or not, and most people don't, and I don't, you've got to admit he's had a lot more success in the NWA than people would have first thought. And I know that's got to be in Hart's mind. He wants an injury. He wants some kind of advantage going into the Clash of Champions.
Fans, don't forget, right here in Atlanta, the big one. What a card. Big back-to-school celebration. Special discount ticket prices this Sunday night in the Omni, 8 o'clock. That's this Sunday night in the Omni. Tickets on sale at all seats locations. I'll tell you something, Flair and Funk, Sunday night, Texas Deathmatch rules in the Omni. That is one of the most physically brutal situations that I've ever witnessed. And very rarely do you see one sign. I've never seen a Texas Deathmatch for the world's title before, but it will be in the Omni Sunday night.
Texas Deathmatches traditionally have been too dangerous to sanction a world title match with those rules. And you know, Terry Funk, the master of the Texas Deathmatch, his father, Dory Funk Sr., had one in Amarillo. It went 2 hours and 44 minutes and 29 falls. Both men went to the hospital for 3 days afterward, even though Funk Sr. won it.
Muta taking over on Sting with the martial arts blows. I think that it's right here very clear that Muta wants to ground Sting. You got to think it's reciprocal. That both these men like the high aerial, high-risk maneuvers. Who can ground the other first and for the longest may win this one. Sting with a cradle right here. It could be over. 1, 2, and Nick Patrick got 2 out of it. Sting back on top. Sunset flip under the near fall, and Muta grabbed the ropes.
Stinger's hitting him from high and low. Look at this.
Another inside cradle, James, and we got 2 again. Sting trying to go for the early pin here.
Muta was expecting Sting to go to the air, so he went to the legs instead. Then Muta tried to protect his legs. Sting went to the air. He's going up and down, and Muta can't react fast enough.
High-risk maneuver. Through the air he goes. That aerial attack. And Muta rolls out of the ring, out of bounds to stop this momentum.
It's very, very seldom. This is the first time that I have ever seen a match moving too quickly for the Great Muta. Wait, what's he doing down here? What is Terry Funk? Look at Gary Hart trying to hang on to his leg. Funk's got no business down here. It's 3-on-1 against Sting now. Gary Hart likes odds like that, I will admit, but if Funk gets in that ring, he's going to get Muta disqualified, and Sting's may be the TV champion.
Well, I'll tell you something. We saw last Saturday just how volatile it can be when Ric Flair got Terry Funk's branding iron and broke Dick Slater's arm. And there you see that the American influence that Funk is trying to incorporate with the great Muta.
What an unholy the threesome of Gary Hart, Terry Funk, and the Great Muta make. And you know, this is another mental ploy on the part of Gary Hart. He's got Terry Funk down here at ringside trying to mess with Sting's head. He's always looking for an advantage.
Muta sneaking back in the ring. He's got to catch Sting unaware, and he does it.
That's exactly what Gary Hart wanted. Terry Funk couldn't interfere in front of the referee, but he could distract Sting to give Muta an advantage, and Muta's going to make the most of it.
Muta with a big right hand, that's an American right. Perhaps Funk served his purpose by coming out and distracting Sting.
And the Stinger now down in the corner. He's going to be the partner of Ric Flair. Look at Gary Hart. Oh, I know him so well. I've done the same thing many times myself. He knows exactly what he's doing behind the referee's back. Sting is going to be the partner of Nature Boy Ric Flair on the Clash of Champions against the 2 men, the Great Muta and Terry Funk. And you know Gary Hart's going to be at ringside. And I think the TV title is important, sure, but I think what's on everybody's mind is that clash.
Live right here on the Superstation. That's going to be on Tuesday night, September the 12th, 8:05 Eastern Time, live as it happens. And right now, the Great Muta has a distinct advantage on Sting for the disputed television title. Sting rammed into the security railing with a lot of velocity there. And we talked about grounding someone, taking their wings away, so to speak. And Sting is certainly grounded right now.
That's true, and you saw Sting flying high in that match on World Championship Wrestling with Dick Slater. He dove over the top rope outside the ring, nearly killed both of them. Sting may not yet be fully recovered from that maneuver, because I know that he had a swollen ankle, injured ankle earlier in the week. Now, Hart's getting a little too, now he's getting a little too blatant here. I mean, sure, take a cheap shot. I've done it many times, but do it with some class.
Well, that towel came from the Holiday Inn. That's a pretty classy place, probably.
Yeah.
Motel 4 or something. I don't know.
The hotels Gary Hart stays in are so small, they steal his towels. That's the kind of guy Gary Hart is.
Sting.
Uncle Fester-looking thing.
Sting is really gasping for air. You can see him really trying to put all the oxygen he can into his body. That's the fuel that run these athletes. Rolling back in the ring, and the Great Muta back to the martial arts tactics. Back to the, I would say, low risk. He's going right for the kill. Look at this deranged man biting the top rope, trying to take the oxygen away from Sting. Fans, next week, remember the main event here next week. The Road Warriors and the Steiners. I mean, 2 of the most preeminent forces, power teams in the sport together for the first time on the Power Hour against the Freebirds, the world champions, and the wild, uncontrollable Samoans.
It should be interesting. It should be interesting because the Road Warriors and the Samoans, both power teams, and the Freebirds and the Steiners, even though the Steiners are stronger than you know what, they're technique teams. But look at Sting. The Great Muta was not able to outrun Sting at the start of this match. We know that now. Sting can go faster. He can take the pace to Muta faster than Muta can handle it. That's why Gary Hart had to create the diversion, and now Muta has the advantage due to that, but he's making the most of it. It's hard to outsmart Muta as well. What a ring technician he is.
Sting with a big move right there offensively. Coming to the ropes. Face first to the canvas. And this capacity crowd roars their approval.
And Sting has opened a door, and now he's got to get through it. He's got to get across the threshold, and he's going nuts on Muta. He doesn't try to take a hold of him in the ring. He throws him right back out on the floor. These guys, the violence in the Sting and Slater confrontation with Flair and Pillman, the branding iron, the whole thing, the same thing is erupting here tonight. violence. These guys want to beat each other up.
And there's no telling what's going to happen tomorrow on World Championship Wrestling. I got a feeling that tomorrow is going to be one volatile program here on TBS, the Superstation. And right there, Muta dropped right across the steel.
Good night. With that makeup and whatever it is in his mouth, you can't tell how badly he's hurt, but that may have busted his mouth wide open.
Remember this, the Pearl of the Orient is still undefeated, has yet to be pinned, I should say, in the NWA. And he has been there with all the toughs, I can tell you. And the Stinger wants to be the first man to defeat the Great Muta in the NWA by a 1, 2, 3. And he's taking him around the ring.
And the Stinger is taking it to him, and the referee is giving Sting some liberties simply because Gary Hart, Terry Funk, and Muta took so many liberties earlier in the night.
You know, Jimmy, I used to officiate these matches, and a referee could have stayed in the ring and counted. He wants to get this thing settled as badly as these athletes, as these fans here in Greenville, as the fans watching here on the Superstation. They want it to be settled. Everybody does, including the officials. I think it was great discretionary officiating by Nick Patrick.
Nick Patrick knows that the TV championship belt needs to be around somebody's waist. You should not have a vacant championship. It needs to be settled. And also with the things that Hart and his men have been doing, he wanted to give Sting an equal break, and I think it's daggum good officiating on the part of Nick Patrick.
Front face lock into the vertical suplex, and he snaps it off. Sting now. Can he make the cover? He's on top. We have 1, 2. Our camera's taking you right inside the ring. That was a great camera angle to show you that the shoulders stayed down for 2. They came up before the 3.
Once again, Sting is taking it to the Great Muta. And we got to wonder, is Sting going to run Muta straight out of gas? Muta had the advantage when Gary Hart and Funk caused the diversion, and Muta made the most of it. But still, Sting has managed to hang on and regain the top momentum. And now he's taking it to Muta. Everything that Sting can do, brother, he's doing it.
Muta now has to regroup on the outside. Remember, fans, if you just joined us, this is for the disputed television championship of the world exclusively here on TBS, the Superstation. Jim Ross and Jim Cornette calling the action. Thanks for allowing us to come into your home once again. And they are exchanging kicks, no man wanting to give the slightest advantage to the other.
Nobody wanted to back up.
Oh, he made a big mistake.
Good night, Sting.
He went for the elbow, and he cracked it. He cracked the elbow right on the ring post. Man, that sends those shooters right up your arm. And his left arm now is lying there helplessly.
He dove straight for Muta, and Muta had enough presence of mind to be able to dive off the apron of the ring. Could have injured himself in the process, but he knew Sting was going to meet that steel, and he did, and hard.
Muta, the power elbow, handspring elbow. Sting now. They're going to check his hole card here. Indeed, this is the 4th quarter for these two athletes, and neither has given an inch. What a contest. The momentum early, it was Sting. The middle, it has been Muta. The latter part of this match, it has gone back and forth. No man with a clear-cut advantage. Muta shot off from the side headlock. Both men seem to be waiting for the other to make a mistake here. Sting, high leapfrog over. Muta avoided it.
Oh, it was showtime for Muta right there, but Sting managed to snatch him, going to take him over to converted hot shot, and Nick Patrick was right behind him. Nick Patrick outside the ring. Like you said, the momentum. Look at Gary Hart.
He's checking to make sure that he's out of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. The momentum has gone back and forth, and you got to give credit to Muta. He's taking a lot from Sting, but there's the Stinger splash.
The Stinger splash, and he nailed him with it. This should be all right here. Can the referee make it back up?
I don't see Nick Patrick moving. He was right behind him.
Scorpion deathlock. He's got it locked in. He'd like to snap those legs.
Gary Hart's getting into the ring, and he's got something in his hand. Oh!
Hart from behind. That's his modus operandi. That takes the pressure, quite obviously, away from the leg of the Great Muta. How much pain has been inflicted here?
There, now you can see on the monitor, referee Nick Patrick, he was right behind Muta and Sting. When Muta dove, Sting grabbed him, taking him back for a modified hot shot, caught Nick Patrick, and now this can't happen this way. They can't decide the TV championship like this.
Sting! Oh, he's inches away!
Right.
He was inches away from a new television championship.
Look at Muta's face. He can't believe it. He knew that was it. Look at Gary Hart. He's even registered shock. And Gary Hart doesn't register anything.
Sting, oh, what a phenomenal athlete. trying to hurt him with Slater, with Muta and Funk. And he is fighting back. He wants to represent all the fans as a television champion.
As tough as Muta has been tonight, Sting has been even tougher.
1, 2, this is all. No, oh, he kicked out. He kicked out of it again. How close can it be? How close can it get here on the Superstation?
Gary Hart has got to be having serious doubts about this match, and he's got to be having serious doubts about that clash on the 12th. If they can't hurt Sting now, and all three of them have been involved in one way or another, then how are they going to hurt Sting with the heavyweight champion of the world as his tag team partner?
Here comes the moonsault. Oh, he put the knees out. The knees to the solar plexus. Sting blocked it. This crowd is erupted. There's pandemonium here. The Stinger once again goes for the Stinger splash.
Sting has done it again. The Stinger splash, and Muta hanging onto the ropes in the corner. If he wasn't hanging the ropes, he would have fallen. Look at Gary Hart again blatantly. He did it right in front of Nick Patrick.
He threw him right off the top rope trying to hurt him.
He had to, I know that's a manager's trick. He had to force a disqualification because he knew his man had no hope.
Let's hear the official decision. What do we have here?
The winner of the match by disqualification, Sting!
Wrestling fans, the following contest on this Superstation Spectacular is a special tag team attraction. It is set for one fall to a finish. Introducing Gary Hart's team. First, from Tampa, Florida, he weighs 251 pounds. Dirty Dick Slater. His tag team partner from the land of the rising sun, the Pearl of the Orient and World Television Champion, the Great Muta.
Well, the mystery has been solved as far as who will be the partner of the Great Muta, Dick Slater. And fans, we will have the introductions of Ric Flair and Sting right after this very brief timeout.
And ladies and gentlemen, the opponents, first from Venice Beach, California. He weighs 265 pounds. This is Sting. And his tag team partner, hailing from Charlotte, North Carolina, weighing 245 pounds. And for the sixth time, he is the World Heavyweight Champion, Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
All right, everybody, this is what they came to see. It would seem here in Columbia, South Carolina.
The place has gone crazy. It's Ric Flair Day in the state of South Carolina. You heard the governor say it. All these people are in agreement with it. And they came to see this match, and they're going to get it. And they're going to get, I think, the fight of the century, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, we know, I'll tell you something. Gary Hart has got the supreme opportunity to make a dramatic impact as far as this sport is concerned in this contest. It was scheduled, obviously, to be Terry Funk and the Great Muta. Funk was injured last week in a match against Nature Boy Ric Flair down in the Bayou State. The Lady of the Lake Hospital in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, was where the interview, I must state, some days ago was taped. It was taped.
That's right.
Funk is in this facility somewhere.
So he claims with Gary Hart, you can never be sure what's happening. I would tend to believe that Terry Funk would not turn down an opportunity, not pass up a chance.
The Great Muta spraying the red.
He sprayed that red mist in the air. As I was saying, Terry Funk would not pass the opportunity to get revenge on the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Sting and the Great Muta squaring off. Bitter feelings between these two, and Dick Slater. Dick Slater, the replacement for Funk, has a cast on his lower arm caused by Ric Flair and the branding iron some weeks ago here on TBS. A lot of hard feelings among all four of these men.
lost the television championship in a very, very controversial decision in the Omni in Atlanta, where the NWA returns on Sunday night, October the 8th. The home base of the NWA and World Championship Wrestling. I talked to Jimmy Suzuki, Jimmy, about the significance of the spray. We have seen Muta spray red and green in one match. That's correct. He also, the Oriental Custom, the yellow spray is the most dangerous. And I understand that is, we've not ever seen that in the United States. I hope we don't here tonight as well. And the Stinger displaying that tremendous power, the great resiliency that he possesses with those clotheslines on Slater and Muta, and Gary Hart is regrouping his troops on the outside. I keep wanting to look over my shoulder and see Terry Funk. You've got to think that there's something, well,
there's something in the air tonight. And Ric Flair has got some tension in the air out of these people at the Carolina Coliseum. And Sting still in the ring and has the great Muta bailed out. You know, talking about Jimmy Suzuki, fine correspondent photographer for the Japanese wrestling magazines. I'd like to get a hold of him before our next broadcast and talk to him about how the Japanese people feel about Muta. Do they respect him for coming to the top of the NWA and being one of their people? Or are they down on him because he's aligned himself with a man like Gary Hart? I wonder how they're feeling right now in Japan. Jimmy Suzuki, just like you talked to him, he'd be a good person to answer that question as well.
Side headlock by the great Muta. Sting shoots him off to the ropes and drops down. And catches it. Oh, what an arm drag. Well, that was a power arm drag.
He snatched him over. Slater trying for the tag. Slater, I don't know whether that's going to be a handicap or a weapon, that cast on his arm.
Well, I'll tell you something. It's a weapon. Let's just dispel that rumor or that assumption. You know as well as I do, if one of your men had a cast on his arm, Corny, that you're going to say, hey, if you can wrestle with a cast, then let's use it as a weapon. Gary Hart really doesn't care about the welfare of Dick Slater, one would not think.
I don't think Gary Hart cares about the welfare of anybody. And I think Gary Hart figures if Dick Slater is capable of getting in there, if he wants to get in there, whatever happens to him, Dick Slater's own business. That's the difference between me and Hart. I got loyalty to my men.
Muta going downstairs on the Stinger, reverses the Irish whip, sends him for the ride, and elevates the Pearl of the Orient up in the lights, catching with another arm drag, taking him over.
Sting so far keeping the momentum on his side. The great Muta got to be figuring, what in the world is going on? I'm sitting here smack dab in the middle of South Carolina, a long way from Tokyo. It's Ric Flair Day. The people have their faces painted like Sting. They're howling and wooing, and he's got to be wondering why he ever left Japan.
And the roar of the crowd goes up. Listen to this. Oh, he chops him so physically.
To my knowledge, is this the first time that Flair and Muta have legally been in the ring together?
I think you're exactly right. Listen to these chops. We can pick them up from our handheld cameras on the ring apron. Flair kicking Muta right to the ribs. Indeed it is Ric Flair Day here in the state of South Carolina. And now the veteran from Tampa, Florida.
You heard Governor Carroll Campbell, you know, his son, Mike Campbell, a very big wrestling fan, is in attendance tonight.
Collar and elbow tie-up, and Slater very dangerous in this position. He chopped it.
Flair's just too much right now, too much in the corner for Slater. Like Governor Campbell said, Ric Flair, he's the #1 wrestler of the past decade in the NWA. He's held every title in the National Wrestling Alliance, beginning with that Mid-Atlantic title in his rookie year, beginning with the Mid-Atlantic Tag Team title. He's held Tag Team Championships. He went right up, straight up the ladder to the NWA World title, which he first won on September 17th, 1981. He's held it 6 times. He's dominated that belt ever since.
I think we can safely say he's dominated the sport. He is the trendsetter in our sport, the most aggressive world champion in history.
He's defended his title against every challenger for all these years. Right, upside down. He chops Muta.
Right off the apron. And now Flair up on top. Catches Slater with the elbow off the top. Muta comes in. Flair chops him.
Ric Flair's a one-man wrecking crew, but he caught a karate kick. He caught that reverse thrust kick. Flair, somebody said to me, are Flair and Sting going to be able to match teamwork together?
Over the top. Muta all the way over the top with a high cross And here comes Sting over the top of Sting. And Slater over the top now, all four on the outside. This is a barroom brawl on the outside. The bones and flesh smacking against the steel. Muta on the apron. Flair chopping Slater.
And Flair's taking it to Slater. Slater's a barroom brawler. His out-of-the-ring fights have sometimes got more publicity than his inside-the-ring fights. But Flair is taking it right here.
And Flair and Slater are the legal men in the ring. As I try to keep some semblance of order here as to who is legal.
Unbelievable sequence of moves. First it was Muta with a dive over the top rope on Flair, then Sting with a dive over the top rope on Muta. Gary Hart trying to regroup his men. Ric Flair and Sting. Someone asked me, is their teamwork going to be down? They've never teamed. They've only been friends for a short time. But Ric Flair, unbeknownst to some people today, because he's dominated the singles title for so long, has been a World Tag Team Champion on several occasions. But Gary Hart has the branding iron. Gary Hart has Terry Funk's branding iron, and I didn't see him with it a few minutes ago.
Well, that's awfully strange.
I did not see, unless Gary Hart's some kind of magician, I did not see Gary Hart with the branding iron of Terry Funk a few minutes ago.
Well, where the branding iron is, Funk is not far behind. As Flair continues that physical onslaught, elbowing that broken arm of Dick Slater. And the Stinger now from the second rope, coming right down across the arm.
Listen to that roar from the fans here. Sting is the hottest property in professional wrestling. He's a future world champion, I'm sure of it, and he should be the man in the NWA in a few years. I have that much confidence in this young man. Sting is hot, and he's getting hotter every day. And I'll tell you who he's hot at, the great Muta. Because Sting, his first major title in the NWA, and Muta stole it from him. That's all you can say. There's controversy, there's taking advantage of a mistake, and then there's thievery. And Muta, I say, stole that title from Sting with the help of Gary Hart.
I will concur on that statement. And Flair now working on the arm of Dick Slater. The great Muta comes in. Tommy Young, senior official in the NWA, forcing Muta back out. Double team move there by Flair and Sting. And Sting now will come in legally, burying the kick to the midsection of Dick Slater.
Slater, like we say, a street fighter. He's a veteran. He can also wrestle, but he likes to play it dirty. He hasn't used that cast as of yet. He hasn't had the chance, but you can bet the first time he does get the chance, he will.
Snap suplex by the Stinger. On top for the lateral press, but Slater kicked out.
I've got to ask you, Jim, would that be a judgment call on the part of the referee? Is the cast, certainly it's a weapon, it's a foreign object, but then again, would that be a judgment call?
I think it certainly would here. And Sting trying to fight his way out of the corner. He's fighting with vengeance, fighting both men off. He's fought his way out of the corner, and he nails Muta with the right hand. Side headlock. Muta now sent for the ride. Oh, he's got him up. Military pressing him over his head. And now Flair has been tagged in. Or at least he's been tagged. He isn't in yet.
He brought the point of that elbow right down across the face of the great Muta.
Side suplex by Flair. Man, he's the greatest tactician in this sport today.
The greatest technician. And what's more, he has returned 100% from that neck injury. Ric Flair, amazing physical specimen. He survived a plane crash in 1975. It broke his back. He was out of action for only 6 months. He returned to accomplish the things that he has accomplished in professional wrestling. On May the 7th, Terry Funk injured his neck, re-injured what was injured in the plane crash. He came back in 2 months, and he's better than ever.
Muta now taking control of this contest on the heavyweight champion of the world. Sends him for the right handspring. Oh, great camera shot taking you right inside the ring. And the heavyweight champion is in jeopardy here in this tag team event.
Muta, you can tell he's well-schooled in gymnastics. Like probably some of the Japanese Olympic gymnasts. He's been trained from an early age in gymnastics and martial arts. He speaks little or no English. He only communicates with Gary Hart.
Slater with big chops to the chest of the Nature Boy. Catching with an elbow on the top of the head. Slater with a straight left-hand jab. But Flair, he fights back, but Slater is tough. He is double tough. He likes the pain, but Flair fights back. This one is so physical here in the NWA.
Slater was looking him right in the eye. He was saying, come on, big boy, give me all you got. And Flair had him going. But he
stopped that reverse neck breaker, stopped Ric Flair in his tracks, and they're going now for the injured neck that Terry Funk started the job on in Nashville, Tennessee on May the 7th.
Muda's got his feet extended here. Referee's helpless. All he can do is count. And Flair ran face first into the outstretched legs, feet, I should say specifically, of the Great Muta.
And we're seeing a preview right here the first time. Ric Flair and the Great Muta have been in the ring. I think Muta is going to be a serious challenger at some point for the World Heavyweight title. Muta has been undefeated for 8 months in the NWA ever since his debut.
No one has pinned this man. Could this be the night that he suffers his first pinfall defeat? And Flair thrown outside. His neck has really been the focal point here. And Slater comes off again. The attack on Flair is from the neck up.
They are working on the weak point. It was Terry Funk who caused the injury. Gary Hart's men now trying to capitalize on that. And you got to wonder still, what about Terry Funk? That branding iron appeared. Gary Hart obviously had it somewhere, but Terry Funk didn't let that branding iron get too far out of his sight.
Flair fights back with all the force that he can muster. Snap mare by the Great Muta, who goes to the ropes. Power elbow drop to the solar plexus of the heavyweight champion.
He doesn't try to get any height. He just goes in with that speed and drives the elbow to the midsection. Look at the fingers in his mouth. I don't understand the significance of the fingers in the mouth. It's a common thing for Muta to do, usually before a nerve hold or a karate thrust.
It's almost as if he gathers strength in his hand from that particular maneuver. I don't know if it's ceremoniously or what the significance is exactly, to be frank with you. Inverted atomic drop. I know the consequences of that.
Flair gave him the inverted atomic drop. It almost didn't loosen Muta's grip. His grip was so tight, but so is Sting.
Sting and Slater, the legal man. Sting is rested, and he is coming in as a house of fire.
He's got Slater going. And now, nails one for Muta for good measure.
Sting is in the wrong part of town right here. He's in a dangerous corner. Tag made, and Sting's not aware of it, I don't think.
Oh, Muta's catching him. He's trying to fight out of the corner just like he did a few minutes ago. And he's succeeded. He backs Muta up, sends him off. Another press slam.
Big gorilla slam there by the Stinger. Flair across to attack Slater.
This thing's breaking into a Pier 6 brawl again. Flair nearly pulling Slater's tights off to jerk him out on the floor. The Stinger splash.
The Stinger splash. Muta is in trouble.
Sting, he's going to get that Scorpion Deathlock. He's going to get the Scorpion Deathlock on the Great Muta. There's Gary Hart. The referee is counting on Flair. Gary Hart hit Sting with
a roll of coins. They're scattered all over the mat cover.
I couldn't tell whether it was washers or kids. Yeah, it's a roll of coins. You see the shiny metal all over the ring.
Hart came in while the referee was...
It came in this way.
Please don't let this happen.
Cannot.
Oh, yeah! He got out of it!
He got it! He got out of it just in the nick of time. He got that shoulder up. Gary Hart came in with the roll of coins while Sting had Muta on the verge of sudden defeat. Flair and Slater were out on the floor. Referee Tommy Young trying to contain that brawl.
There's a power bomb by Muta. 1, 2. But Sting's tremendous leg strength, his drive, his tenacity, proving to kick out there. But Slater has been tagged in. Now Dirty Dick will take advantage, no doubt, here.
Muta letting Slater take over, saying, see what you can do with him. Try to beat him any way you can. Slater setting up for something. Boomeranging his throat up under the bottom rope.
Come on, Stinger, get up and go.
Gary Hart, I think, was claiming that some of the fans threw coins into the ring. The referee sees him, but he obviously didn't see what happened. This thing has been so wild, there's no way even we watching the TV cameras, 6 cameras, we can't even keep track of it, much less a referee in the middle of the fight.
Slater now has Sting on the outside. The Stinger is in bad trouble here. Was hit in the head by a roll of coins by Gary Hart. The coins scattered all over the ring.
He just got slammed on his hip there. I don't care whether they're a wrestling match down or not. There's no give in that concrete floor.
Flair very anxious. He's impatient. He wants back in. And Muta slamming Sting into the railing, and Flair all the way around. Big chop by the champion to intervene for his partner. But Muta back to the attack. Muta is not legal to Dick Slater, the legal man for his team in this contest.
They have hit the Sting with some heavy artillery over the past couple of minutes. And now Slater goes to a sleeper, but Sting drops out of it.
Oh, what a desperation maneuver by Sting, ramming Slater's chin right into the top of his head.
Sting falls back into the ropes. A collision. If Sting had realized where he was, he could have fell back for the tag. But he's been hit by so many different things from so many different directions, he didn't realize Flair was behind him.
Tommy Young exercising Tim, but both men back up to their feet. Slater's trying to set Sting for the pile driver, but Sting powers out. It took every ounce of strength that he could muster to power out of that attempted pile driver by Dick Slater.
Slater was flat on his back, but he made the tag. He made the tag, and here comes the champ.
Flair, oh, physical action. Big top to the chest, right hand to the face of Dick Slater. He's knocked him down.
He's cleaning house with both of them. Now Sting comes in, gets a shot on Muta, now turns him around and starts teeing off. They're all four in the ring again. We knew this was going to be a fight. It's the wildest thing we've seen so far tonight. Muta down on the floor, Flair stomping Slater out on the floor.
Sting's got Muta up. Muta just sprayed Sting right in the face. He sprayed him right in the face, Corny.
He sprayed him. I saw it when Sting picked Muta up.
He sprayed the yellow.
That was a yellow spray. You can see it all over Sting.
Sting's, you cannot see. Sting, he's rolling around the outside. He cannot see.
Can we get a shot of Sting? He's got that yellow spray all over his face, and he's screaming in pain.
Flair's got the figure four, and Slater just nailed Flair right in the face with a cast. He hit him right in the face with that cast, and Flair has been busted open.
Flair has got to fight these guys both now. They're both in the ring against Flair. The referee suffered a collision, has been knocked to the floor, and Flair is going in alone against two of the most dangerous men in professional wrestling. Sting has been blinded. He can't see.
Sting cannot see the yellow spray in the face. Flair has to fight both men, and Flair has been busted. Wait a minute. Terry Funk is here.
That's Funk. It's Funk. He's finally here. He's got a plastic bag, Jim.
He's put a plastic bag over Ric Flair. Flair will not be able to breathe. He's tying it off. Funk is deranged. He's tying it off.
Flair can't imagine what's happened to him or why. He's been beaten by Slater and Muta. Now Funk with a plastic bag, and he's tied it. He's tied it around Ric Flair's neck.
He's trying to choke literally the life out of the champion. The plastic bag over his face. Flair cannot breathe.
Sting has his eyes cleared up somewhat. He's trying to come in and fight.
The branding iron has been tossed into the ring. Flair is out of it.
Get a shot of Sting. They've got Sting down. Slater has that branding iron. Muta holding Sting's leg off the apron of the ring.
Sting is going to be hit.
No!
Oh, God, right across the shin bone. Right across the foot with that branding iron.
He got him right down there.
They bit it.
They
They bit the branding iron on his leg. Fans, that's as chaotic.
This is unbelievable.
We got to. They've been disqualified. We'll try to clear it up.
Take this break.
We've been waiting for it the entire Power Hour, and now it's time. The wrestlers are ready, the announcers are ready, the fans are ready, and we are ready. It's time for this week's Power Hour main event. Let's go to the arena.
Introducing in the ring, hailing from Canyon, Texas. He weighs 287 pounds, Captain Redneck, Dick Murdoch. And ladies and gentlemen, his opponent, making his way toward the ring, being led by Gary Hart. From the land of the rising sun, the Pearl of the Orient, he is the World Television Champion, the Great Muta.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this will be Dick Murdoch and the Great Muta, the television champion, being accompanied to the ring by Gary Hart, Jim Ross, and Jim Cornette. Coming to you from the Roanoke, Virginia Civic Center. And don't forget, fans, that Ric Flair has called a press conference for tomorrow night's program this Saturday night, 6:05 Eastern Time on World Championship Wrestling. Plus, you're going to see Dick Murdoch and Dangerous Dan Spivey. Ric Flair and Sting scheduled to be in tag team competition, and Sting is 100%. Hopefully he will be. We'll know tomorrow night.
Jim, I know they've been taking the situation with Sting day by day. He's been checking in with his doctor. He's rip snorting ready to get back to action, and it could happen at any time just as soon as his doctor gives the okay. And also, you got to think, Murdoch and Spivey is going to have to be an interesting match, an interesting combination, two different styles. And Murdoch, he can pretty well match Spivey almost size for size. He's got a little disadvantage against Spivey, but he's a big man himself, Murdoch.
Fans, we're also going to show you this Sunday night on the NWA main event, 6:05 Eastern Time. Flying Brian and Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, Sweet Stan Lane, and Michael Hayes. And a match that we taped just a few weeks ago. What a classic it was. It's certainly worth seeing again if you missed it. Sting and the Great Muta. That is this coming Sunday night, 6:05 Eastern Time on the NWA main event.
That turned out to be one of the wildest matches we've ever seen. It was on the Power Hour, and you got to think, Jim, Sting and the Great Muta, far from being settled, far from over. As soon as Sting gets that doctor's okay, he's going to be back, and I know exactly where he's going to be directing his anger at.
Dick Murdoch very cautious. If anybody knows the ways of the Oriental, Jimmy, it has to be Dick Murdoch. His many tours of Japan, I think, make him almost a semi-native of the Orient.
I think he's got the record for most tours by an American to Japan. They generally last from 3 to 5 weeks, and Murdoch, I want to say he's been on 52 of them over the past 15 years, however long. So
that's a lot of frequent flyer miles. I know that. As a Great Muta poised, spraying the red. It was the yellow that he sprayed in Sting's eyes at the Clash of Champions.
I got to be honest with you, I don't know that much about the ways of the Orient. I don't know the difference in the colors of the sprays. I don't know how he does the daggum thing, to be honest with you. All I know is we talked to Jimmy Suzuki there that night, the photographer, photojournalist for the Japanese wrestling magazines. He said the red and the green, very strange, but the yellow is dangerous. And that's what he sprayed that night.
Muta trying to take over on Murdoch, but Murdoch comes right out of the corner fighting with American right hands and elbows, knocking Muta from the ring. Muta's got to be very cautious here with a man like Dick Murdoch, because Murdoch is no stranger to championships. He's no stranger to brawling if that's what it takes, but he can wrestle. He's a veteran working well into his second decade in the sport. Fans around the world are familiar with Dick Murdoch, the big veteran from Canyon, Texas. And this is one man that I know Gary Hart and the Great Muta will not take lightly.
Well, Gary Hart's known Dick Murdoch for quite a few years. He realizes exactly how dangerous Murdoch can be, and by the same token, Murdoch gives Hart that credit. You got to think Murdoch has an advantage on Muta. Murdoch's been to Japan so many times, he knows how to wrestle against the Oriental wrestlers. Muta has not been to Texas that often.
And there's a handspring elbow, catching Murdoch right in the face, and you see the results of that tremendous blow by Muta, who got a lot of momentum, snap-marrying Murdoch over. Now, Murdoch is in that 300-pound category, about 6'5". Muta's got the big man off his feet. Good strategy for the TV champion.
Oh, sure, and Gary Hart, I'm sure, illustrated that fact for Muta before the event, probably saying you've got to take this man off his feet. He's got the advantage on you in experience. He's got the advantage on you in size. The only thing you can use is your fast break. Muta's like a fast-breaking college basketball team. He'll run off and leave you if you give him the chance, and that's exactly what he tries to do in the opening moments of most of his matches. But Murdoch, like we said, a veteran, he's got a lot of experience against the Japanese wrestlers. I've got to think that Muta doesn't know how Murdoch is going to compete against him, because Muta just simply doesn't have that much experience against an unorthodox man like Dick Murdoch.
Muta with a step over toe hold, modified version on Murdoch, now twisting the ankle. Fans, I want to make a program correction. This Sunday night on the Power Hour, on the main event, I'm going to be joined by Gordon Soley. And Gordon and I will be taking a look at a match involving Ric Flair and Dick Slater. That will be this Sunday night on the NWA main event at 6:05, same starting time. Near falls there as Muta holds on to the top rope, getting that additional leverage. But this Sunday night, 6:05, I'm very privileged and happy to be joined by Gordon Soley. This Sunday night, our feature matchup, Dick Slater and Ric Flair. It should be a classic, plus the Freebirds and the Dynamic Dudes, all that this Sunday night on the NWA main event. That program correction.
You slipped and said Power Hour. I thought I was getting my pink slip for a second there, Jim.
Well, I'll tell you something. There's so much going on
the Freebirds and the Dynamic Dudes, you mentioned that's going to be a heck of a match, and I think the Dudes are going to shock somebody. Of course, now, I'm a little bit prejudiced. Over the past couple of weeks, we've made it common knowledge that I'm advising the Dynamic Dudes now, and I say that the Dynamic Dudes, if they're overlooked, if the Freebirds underestimate them, they're going to shock a lot of people in the world of professional wrestling, and you saw how good they were looking just a little bit earlier in the program against the New Zealand Militia. These guys, a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, they're going to be one of the top teams in wrestling when the top teams of today have had their time.
Gary Hart up on the ring apron, and Muta continuing to work on the leg of Dick Murdoch. Certainly has a man with a strength and size advantage at a distinct disadvantage right here on the NWA Power Hour. Well, so much this weekend, it's hard to keep it all straight. Now, tomorrow night, 6:05, two big shocking things I can tell you. Ric Flair's got a press conference, and he doesn't call press conferences unless he's got something big, something important, and something very, very dramatic on his mind. Plus, we're going to show you a piece of videotape this Saturday night on World Championship Wrestling that I just heard bits and pieces of, that of a very tremendous tragedy involving Scott Steiner. We'll document that this Saturday night at 6:05 on World Championship Wrestling. Great move there by Dick Murdoch. His free leg, his healthy leg, certainly a weapon there, James.
I think Murdoch, he just about shocked those red pants off the great Muta, because Muta was not expecting a man of Murdoch's size to do a maneuver like that. And just as he just did now, bringing the elbow down across the knee of the great Muta, Murdoch, smart wrestling on his part. He's trying to negate the speed advantage that the great Muta possesses. As you can see, Gary Hart there doesn't look too happy. He never looks happy, but in this case, he looks even a little more unhappy than usual.
You know, James, when we grow up, I know you did and I did too, watch Superstation and watch the TBS as it is, every Saturday night when Gordon was hosting World Championship Wrestling. And it's like working with one of your all-time heroes as far as announcers are concerned. I'm really looking forward to Gordon joining me this Sunday night. That's at 6:05, when we will take a look at a dramatic match involving Dick Slater and Ric Flair, the Dynamic Dudes and the Freebirds, and much more, all this Sunday night at 6:05. And those two big announcements tomorrow night, Flair's press conference this Saturday night, and that development involving Scott Steiner. You're not going to believe that, and I'm not going to tell you anymore. You'll see tomorrow night exactly what I'm talking about. I don't think you'll think I'm overreacting when I say it was a tragedy, and it was so shocking that it's hard to put into words, but we had a camera there, and we'll show you this Saturday night at 6:05.
Well, you're not a guy given to exaggeration, Jim. Just like when you say that I'm your favorite co-host, that's no exaggeration.
It certainly is.
That's simply the truth.
It
no,
is.
But seriously, you and Gordon Solie together, it's got to be like Dan Rather getting the opportunity to work with Walter Cronkite, but well, maybe Rather wouldn't be as gracious about working with an old master as you are with Gordon Solie.
I'm really looking forward to it. He's one of my all-time heroes. I think I really know that his insight will be extremely valuable and interesting, and we'll have that this Sunday night. I remember sitting back in Oklahoma a lot of nights watching World Championship Wrestling on TBS, and indeed, every Saturday night, man, I loved it, and we're going to be together on Sunday.
I like when he says that the man brought the knee down across the prefrontal lobe. That's my favorite Gordon Solie quote.
He's great.
But speaking of lobes, Dick Murdoch, he's got a heck of a face there.
Right there, pinning predicament right here. And Tommy Young got a 2 count out of it. Look, Murdoch has got the leg grapevine, the arm half Nelson.
What he's doing is he's giving the great Muta a lesson in wrestling, and he may be one of the first ones to do that, but Murdoch has the experience. A few minutes ago, you saw Muta try one of his fancy spin kicks while Murdoch had a hold of his leg. Murdoch avoided that. Muta went for Murdoch's leg. Murdoch managed to snap him down into a small package. Murdoch is for the most part, countering, maybe not out-wrestling, but countering Muta.
This is similar to the tactics that Antonio Inoki had with Muhammad Ali, kicking the legs, breaking those blood vessels in the shin bones.
And there Murdoch did to the great Muta what Ali would have liked to have done to Inoki, and that's hit him with a right hand right to the face. Now Gary Hart up on the apron again.
Boy, Hart has been irate due to the suspension of Terry Funk. We heard Terry Funk tonight on Funk's Grill. He certainly is still very irate. I think he's more dangerous now than he ever has been, but the good news is he's got to be dangerous somewhere else because he can't wrestle in the NWA.
I think we ought to write some letters seeing if we can't get Funk's Grill suspended. Oh, now look at Gary Hart. snapping that towel at Murdoch, and he's finally had enough. Murdoch, he's got a temper. Gary Hart, not known for his track and field running, but he uses the obstacles that the ring presents to stay away from Murdoch.
He'd make a good javelin catcher, and Murdoch, very uncharacteristic that he does not stay focused on his opponent, especially one the caliber. Ooh, right there, big right, and another right.
Murdoch was suckering the Great Muta. Murdoch could have caught Gary Hart there, but he suckered the Great Muta into trying to come up from behind him, thinking his attention was diverted. So Gary Hart has been ineffective in that ploy, trying to take Murdoch's attention off the match. But now, well, that was kind of blatant.
I'll tell you something, though, we may be seeing a new style that the future opponents of the Great Muta may try to exercise, and that's work on his legs and ground the high-flying aerial tactics. But what do you do about Gary Hart? What do you do to offset Gary Hart? He may need to be hung in a cage or something above the ring just so he can not interfere. And you know what? I've seen you in those cages above the ring. You're pretty well out of touch.
You're out of touch with society and out of touch with reality. That's the most horrified I've ever been in my life. When I was put in that cage, it's only about 4 feet square and hung 50 feet up over the ring. You cannot move without shaking that cage. It makes your stomach queasy, but what's more important for anybody who's put in that cage, you're nullified. Your advantage, if any, that you give your men is totally nullified because you cannot interfere.
As a matter of fact, I've been notified that match has been signed for the Omni on Sunday night, October the 8th. Gary Hart will be suspended high above the ring in a steel cage. We expect Sting back 100% on that night, and Sting and Muta will settle their situation finally, one-on-one with Gary Hart out of the way. That's in the Omni on Sunday night, October the 8th.
Well, I'll give my personal word from experience. Gary Hart won't be able to interfere, but I think Hart will probably be the ugliest parakeet in Atlanta, Georgia history, hung in that cage in the Omni on the 8th.
Another step over toe hold. Muta was using the top rope for that additional leverage that he needs, and now Gary Hart extending the towel out there. It gives you that leverage advantage that you normally would not have. And that's why Murdoch is getting these several near falls here. It's because Muta has the illegal advantage.
Hart has just managed to make a pest out of himself so far all the way through tonight. He's been into everything. I wonder if he's been drinking too much caffeine. Hart's usually a little more laid back than this.
I'll tell you what, he hasn't been laid back at all with his main man, Terry Funk, under an indefinite suspension.
And it's not that he cares anything about Funk. He just cares about what Funk can do for him. That's all he's worried about. He'd send Funk in there in a body cast if he had to.
Muta continued to work on the leg of Dick Murdoch, but Murdoch will fight back and continue to fight back until there's no breath left in his body. The big Texan now opening up on the Great Muta. The television champion is in trouble.
Gary Hart looking at Murdoch, trying to spy maybe another advantage, another chance he might have to flip Murdoch with that towel, slap him in the leg, do something to distract him again, because Murdoch has Muta pretty well going, even though he doesn't have full use of all of his leg there. He's still got, well, all right, advantage again due to experience. Murdoch taking him down.
Murdoch's got him rolled up. 1, 2, and there's Hart. Gary Hart just got nailed. Murdoch had enough of Hart and just popped him with that big right hand. Muta now from behind. Muta from behind with the advantage on Dick Murdoch. Gary Hart apparently has served his purpose, and now can Muta well, there's Dick Slater out there.
Dick Slater's come down to help Gary Hart up off the mat. He got a right hand by Murdoch. He went down. Slater's out there now, and Muta's on top of Murdoch. This is starting to look pretty bad for Captain Redneck.
Murdoch catches Muta with the elbow coming to the corner. And now it's Murdoch dropping a heavy arm.
We got to get it. Oh, he double-handed him right on top of the head. Where?
With that cast.
The referee was with Gary Hart.
He nailed him with that cast. He hit him right in the head with the cast.
Oh, no.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, the Great Muta. It is now time for the Thunderdome cage match. Introducing first, the special guest referee, the one man considered capable by the NWA in officiating this special event. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the living legend of professional wrestling, Bruno Sammartino! And now, ladies and gentlemen, the participants. Gary Hart, one of the designated Terminators, accompanies to the ring from the land of the rising sun, the Pearl of the Orient, and he is the World Television Champion, the Great Muta.
Jim, unbelievable Thunderdome match. Electrified fence around the cage. I've never seen it. I've never heard of it. And I'm apprehensive. I'm very apprehensive about it.
And ladies and gentlemen, their opponents. First, from Venice Beach, California. He weighs 265 pounds. Wrestling fans, this is Sting.
Know that when all the participants do get into the ring, then this electrified fence, the Thunderdome, is going to be lowered down over it. Another unique thing about it, there's no door in this thing.
When they all get there, it'll be lowered around them. There's no door, no way in.
Yeah.
No way out at that point.
Yeah.
The top electrified, no one can climb over.
And ladies and gentlemen, his partner, he will be accompanied by his team's designated Terminator, The Rock, Ole Anderson. Ladies and gentlemen, from Charlotte, North Carolina, he weighs 245 pounds. And for the 6th time, he is World Heavyweight Champion, Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Well, Bob, you notice there's no beautiful women around Ric Flair as is normal. He is all business here. If there will be a party, it'll be after this one's over because he has been training hard, he and Sting. The question is, how far will Ole Anderson let it go? Gary Hart has the most to lose by letting it go too far because he makes his living off the productivity of the Great Muta and Terry Funk.
I think you're 100% right, and Jim, we might again point out to the fans that are not aware of it, the only way the match can end, there's not going to be any falls. The only way it can end is the second or the designated Terminator, Ole Anderson or Gary Hart, the towel has got to go up. They got to submit. They got to say, hey, I want it over. I want to stop it. And they both vowed right to the very end that they're not going to do that.
Momentarily, ladies and gentlemen, they'll be lowering the biggest cage ever erected for a professional wrestling event around the ring. 30 feet on a side.
As we lower the Thunderdome cage, remember there are no disqualifications, no time limit. The match continues until either Gary Hart or Ole Anderson, the respective Terminators, throws in their towel to signify that a member of their team has had enough and submits.
Bruno Sammartino, the living legend. Bruno won his first world title on May the 17th, 1963. It took him 47 seconds to win his first world's title, and he held it from 63 to 71. A feat that may never be accomplished again.
47 seconds. Unbelievable. And now as that cage is going to be lowered, Jim, I'm going to direct this to you because I want to make a point right here now. That cage is electrified. There's a lot of things I'm not fond of. One of them's electricity. But in case anybody in that ring has got to have mouth-to-mouth, friend, you're going to have to go down there and do it. I'm not going to go down near that cage.
Well, I hope it doesn't come to that, Bob. The cage slowly being lowered down. What an intimidating sight.
Good.
It's electrified. I have never seen a cage like this.
Jim, what do you think is in the mind of a Terminator? I think I know what you and I would be like if we saw someone in there suffering, someone hurting, someone in great pain. We'd say, hey, you know, I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna throw the towel in. But Hart and Anderson, they're not of that ilk. I don't know how far he might go.
Bob, we would be thinking of a little human compassion,
right,
and of tomorrow. These men are not thinking of tomorrow. The great Muta, undefeated, a man that has the world television champion, has beaten them all that he has faced.
And of course, Funk. You know how wild Funk is. There's a man I'm not sure has got any feelings, any compassion at all for anybody. Just a completely wild man. Look at this, Jim. As we get our first look at the Thunderdome, have you ever seen anything as imposing in a wrestling event in your life?
Thunder. That's the thunder of the Thunderdome lowering around. The lightning flashing. You got to think what's going through the minds now of these 6 individuals that are in the match. Actually, 7 individuals, counting the official, the legendary Bruno Sammartino. I talked to him before we went on the air. First time I had the chance to meet him, he said, I've never seen anything like this. He says, I am very, very nervous, not for the responsibility, because he's a man that has always accepted responsibility.
Wait a minute, look at that. What is that nut doing?
I don't know where he thinks he's going to go, but he'll get...
He's going to do the split out there between the fence and the rope.
The cage a little higher up, where it's where the wiring to make it electrified.
It looks like, hey, as a matter of fact, something has already caught on fire over there.
I told you, we talked about it being dangerous. Hey, we have never seen one either, fans. You're seeing it for the first time. Thanks to Turner Home Entertainment and World Championship Wrestling and your great cable company. Remember our next pay-per-view spectacular from the Omni in Atlanta. The great Muta sprays the fire.
He put it out.
He put it out.
Yeah, he'll put it out. I saw someone go running down with a fire extinguisher, and Muta said, I got my own. That's called coming prepared.
Well, I'm glad he put it on the fire, not in someone's face. What an apparatus. Completely surrounding the ring. I tell you what, we have to pat the brave cameraman on the back that's got a handheld inside that son of a gun. It's going to be Terry Funk and Ric Flair starting it out. Funk with with a shoulder block. Takes Flair down. Funk, former world's heavyweight champion. A 20-year veteran being hammered by the Nature Boy.
Unbridled hatred between these two, Jim, and it's coming right out in the opening seconds here.
Terry Funk became the world's champion on December the 10th of 1975. He held the title until early in 1977. And Bruno is already making his presence known. I guarantee you, there's not a man in this facility that's going to intimidate Bruno Sammartino, much less any of the great athletes that are in this match right now.
And Jim, when you talk about the great athletes in the match, that brings to mind again, you know, you wonder why in the world would someone like the world heavyweight champion say, hey, I'll get in there and I'll wrestle in the Thunderdome match. It's because of that man right there, Terry Funk. He'll do anything to get it Funk. I believe that.
Big shot by the Nature Boy. Powerful slam. And he's got him up again. And another slam on Terry Funk. Big chop. Oh, man.
That just rings all around the arena.
Funk thrown right out on his head, right out on the floor. There's about 5 feet from the ring until the cage. Right there you see it. There's not a lot of room to operate in. And the higher up you go the cage, that's where the electrified feature takes place. That's where it is in effect at that point.
So if it gets hot enough in the ring to want to get out of it and somebody tries to climb it, they're going to find out just how hot that fence is around the ring.
Shot treatment was never like this. Big chop by Flair, tagging in Sting. Another great young Lions. In the sport 3 years as he tosses Funk outside.
Watch out.
Funk ran into the cage. Trying to attack Ole Anderson.
He was going after Ole, but Sting was right behind him. That was a man he needed to worry about.
I'll tell you something, look at these designated terminators. We know Gary Hart has very little scruples, but his paycheck is on the line here. Ole Anderson, I made the comment on the wrestling hotline. And don't forget, fans, we'll have a live post-game show with Lance Russell, Joe Pedicino, Chris Cruz, Gordon Solie, Bob and I, and some special guests right after this event at 10 o'clock Eastern Time on the hotline. I made the comment on the hotline that I didn't think Ole Anderson could be trusted because of his track record. Ric Flair and Sting obviously think otherwise.
Well, and you're talking about Gary Hart, and you're talking about his meal ticket, especially with a man that just went out of the ring, Muta. There's a man that we haven't seen defeated yet in the NWA. There's no telling how far Muta's going to go, and he's going to put a lot of gold in the pocket of Hart. I don't think Hart wants to see him seriously injured.
Can you hear that? The competitive nature of National Wrestling Alliance and World Championship Wrestling. There is none else like this. And we appreciate the fans supporting pro wrestling wherever it may be. It's great sports entertainment, but none of it is as physical as this. Great drop kick by Sting, the youngster from Venice Beach, California. Started out as a member of a team called the Blade Runners. And I think his partner has not progressed like this kid has.
Well, and yeah, and you talk about coming a long way in a short period of time. You know, Jimmy has been a professional wrestler very long, not in terms of years, but he's already been a world television champion. He knows what championships are like, and he's going to see many of them.
Sting opening up with a lot of velocity, a lot of fire and fury. Military pressing Muta, and then throws Muta right into Terry Funk. Great suplex by Sting on the undefeated television champion of the world, and now tagging in the man, Ric Flair. Went through wrestling training in 1972. It was 75 when he had his back broken. A lot of the fans
fans may not know that he trained with the late, great Chris Taylor, who represented the United States in the Olympics. The great big heavyweight, 400 pounds from Iowa State to be exact. He was in the same class with the Nature Boy. Flair, who played football at 260, but he wrestles at 240, 235 to 240. And there's no one in the sport in better condition than the 6 times heavyweight champion of the world. Tag made after the knee drop. The Stinger back in.
And Jim, you made the point before the match as Flair was making his way. No bevy of beautiful women around him. As he went toward the ring, it was all business. He knew and he had his mind right on it. If it's going to be party time, it's going to be later. And I think that's the new Ric Flair that we're seeing. Hey, he's got to push him through there.
Trying to push him right through the cage. The bevy of photographers. There's Dennis Brent from the NWA's Wrestling Wrap-Up, the official magazine of World Championship Wrestling, covering this exclusively. Muta's so resilient, Bob.
Oh, man.
He's phenomenal.
And you got to be careful. Anytime Muta's in the ring, Jim, he can hurt you so many different ways. He's got so many different moves. You can't be on the lookout for all of them. You got to be extremely careful when Muta's in there. It only takes one blow from him, and boy, he'll turn you right around.
I think we're going to see a lot of submission-type maneuvers in this because, as you mentioned, Bob, falls are non-existent. Fans, if you're waiting for someone to win a fall, you'll be waiting forever because that's not the object of the game. The object is to punish someone so severely that the designated terminator, their second, whatever you like to call them, throw in the towel.
And I think that's why, in Jim, nobody has gone for a pinhole. You haven't seen anybody try to pin anybody. It's going to be, let's see how bad I can hurt you. Let's see how bad I can wear you down. The eyes again. Boy, there's the equalizer. That'll stop an elephant in his track.
Look at Funk choking Sting. Sting is the legal man in this match. Sting has got the Scorpion Deathlock, Flair the figure 4. Muta assortment of nerve holes, and Funk, of course, not only the spinning toe hold that he won the world title with, and his brother Dory Jr. did as well, but he's also got that pile driver. They all have their favorites, and they all can hurt you. Look at Funk around to fight Flair, and Flair fights back.
Unbelievable hatred between these two.
Oh, they hate each other with a passion.
Yes.
Front face lock. That quick into the standing suplex. He is so quick. Very little time to set his feet. He went right into the maneuver.
Jim, I don't know of a better all-around athlete in sports than this man, Muta. He can do it all. He's got it all.
Big chop by Flair. Throwing Muta over the top rope. Remember, no disqualifications in this.
And there's Flair and Funk again.
Oh, this is just a straight fight.
I'm waiting for someone to get a submission hold. A hold that really is putting some paint on to see what the second's going to do. The Terminator.
Big break for the Stinger. Taking Funk face first down. Man, I'll tell you something. We thought the Road Warrior Skyscraper wouldn't go long. How can this match go very long with the punishment that they're taking right now? I mean, it's everything but the kitchen sink thus far.
Yeah.
Look at Sting's back there.
Yeah, you're right. He's already got blood on it. I don't know whether that's a cut on his back or whether it came from somebody's nose or eye or something.
It may be pain also from Muta's face.
Could be.
Atomic drop and a clothesline. Boy, they're being tested. They are really being tested here. Going for the Scorpion. He's going for the Scorpion. He's trying to turn him over. And Funk intervened there.
Just in the nick of time, he would have had that Scorpion locked in. And you know, I was just going to say, it looks like that Sting and Flair are trying to work on Muta. He looks like the one they're trying to get out.
Funk ramming Sting's head into the top turnbuckle. Sammartino pushing Funk out of the ring. Funk does not want to challenge that great athlete originally from Abruzzi, Italy.
You see Flair again goes right toward Funk. But again, I think it's Muta. I think Muta is the key to this match because Muta is the meal ticket of Gary Hart. And I don't think Hart, no matter how cruel he is, I don't think he wants to see his meal ticket fly out the window.
Terry Funk trying to bushwhack Sting if he can here.
I don't know whether Sting knows he's behind him or not. I don't think he did.
Funk's right there. He's in bad territory too.
That's right.
Flair's right down the apron. Flair with the right hand. Phenomenal chop. My God, that was a...
Hey, wait a minute. Is he going to try to climb that fence now? Hey, they're going up. Watch out, guys. Don't get too high there.
Sting with a suplex back in the ring on Muta. Funk falls. Perhaps from fatigue as Muta now trying to come
There
up.
goes Muta. Where's Muta going?
It gets too high up there, you'll get it. The hair will be raised on his neck. As Sting goes up after, they're high above the ring.
Sting also going up now, following Muta. Oh, he just got shot. He reached up and got bit right there.
The crowd oohed and awed. They could see the sparks flying.
Man, I'd come off of that thing and I'd come off quick. I don't know what Muta's object is even being there. Get down off of that thing, guy. Now is Funk trying to get out now?
Flair with a big shot. We'll keep our eye on Terry Funk as he goes up to the top there. Flair pulling him back down. Muta's still on the other side of the ring on the up the wall there, the cage. Sting now in trouble back in the ring. Ole Anderson on the far side, you can see him there keeping a close eye on it.
And it's amazing that the bout, hey, wait a minute. There goes Funk again up high. Look, Flair right up there after him.
Look at Funk hanging from the top of the cage, and Flair's chopping him like a tree. Funk's leg now entangled as Flair swings to the rope that's hanging down.
That's a very precarious and dangerous place for Funk to be now. He's going to be caught and hanged by the leg in that fence.
Sting has Muta high over his head, holding him seemingly for an eternity. What's he gonna do, throw him outside? He's held him up there for forever. What strength by the youngster from Venice Beach, California. Oh, fuck. Oh, this is bizarre and as physical and unpredictable as anything we've witnessed. And fans, what is trying to call it, as we can see it here,
right.
The action is all over this thing. Funk is still hanging from the cage.
Boy, it would have been a perfect and ideal time for Flair and Sting both to have double-teamed Muta and really, wait a minute, where'd he go? Under the ring?
He went under the ring. What's under the ring? I would have. Sting with a rope there, rope hanging down. They can use that rope to their advantage.
Funk again is up to the top.
He must think he can get out of this thing, and that's ludicrous. You can see that the top of the cage is slanted inward, much like a fence in a prison.
That's right. You can't climb over the gall dang thing.
Flair rammed shoulder first into the cage by Muta, and Funk and Sting are still up the top. physical punishment.
I tell you, there's no doubt that the man that has had the least to do so far is that man, the designated Terminator. He hasn't figured it all into it.
Sting looks like Tarzan up there with that rope. Does that make Funk cheetah? I don't know. Now Flair right there could go for a pin, but it's irrelevant.
That's right.
But he can go for the figure four.
Oh, that's what he did, Jim. Look. He's got it.
He's got the figure four locked in on Muta. And now it's a matter of time. It's only a matter of time until that leg snaps. And Gary Hart, I'd like to see the Sting flying through the air on that rope with both feet in Funk. Flair punishing Muta, but apparently sensing that he didn't have it either locked in to his own full advantage or to his liking, relinquished the maneuver. It won't be the last time we see the figure four, we have to think.
Well, and I think he got an eye full again of Terry Funk. Even though he had that figure four on Muta, he was all the time eyeing Funk over there.
Oh, he kicked him. He kicked Flair in the back of the head, and Flair was on the second turnbuckle. Sting flying through the air on that rope. Oh, gosh, he just straddled the dadgum cage. And now Funk's going to try to hog tie.
He's got the rope. I think he's trying to tie that rope around that leg. If he gets that rope tied around and hangs him by that.
Muta's got Flair. And that's a reverse version of a spinning toe hold. Same basic position of the legs for the object person. That meaning Flair as Muta laid back on it. Twisting the cartilage and the leg of a nature boy.
All right, and we may see the Terminator come into play here.
This is a submission move, Bob. Will Ole Anderson throw in the towel here? Flair's in deep trouble. Front face locking, a reverse front face lock, and the leg grapevine. Out of the bridge. Sting, is he tied there? Is Sting tied to the cage?
I think he's tied there. Hey, Ole's going up there to untie him.
But it's giving Funk and Muta the opportunity to really try to tear Flair up. Funk from West Texas put up a half hitch and a hooey, as they say at rodeos. And there he is.
And I tell you, talking about having trouble, Ole is having a lot of trouble with that rope around the leg of Sting. I still don't think he got the knot untied.
Here comes the stunt pile driver. Remember Flair on May 7th was injured by Terry Funk at Wrestle War 89. That's the night Flair regained the heavyweight championship of the world.
Severe neck injury that he received from that pile driver, and still he hasn't got that rope untied. He's got to take a knife and cut it or something. Funk must have put one of those cowboy knots in there.
Boy, this puts Flair in so much jeopardy. It allows the double team. Now there's nothing the referee can do because there's absolutely no disqualification. I think Ole finally got Sting untied.
And a roar went up from the crowd as Sting was
Watch Sting with a rope.
Here comes Tarzan. Oh, no.
Oh, my God. He must have been 20 feet up in the air. What a death-defying leap by the Stinger.
Complete disregard for his own body, Jim, when he came flying into the ring from so far away.
And now Muta goes up the cage. Will he touch the wire? That's electrified. He's right up on top of it. Muta would like to, I guess, go to the land of the rising sun right now. He may be fried wonton if he gets hold of that top very strongly.
I don't know where he's trying to go. Again, Jim, we don't think it's possible. I don't see how anybody can climb over that thing.
Big chops, but Flair is working on the leg. Can you sense, Bob, you've seen him longer than I. Figure four.
Figure four coming. And he wants that on Funk. He wants it so bad. The hatred that he has for Funk, he just may try to break that leg off if he gets him in that figure four.
Muta and Sting battling it out up on the cage. High above the ring. Flair working on the leg of Funk viciously, and Funk cannot even stand.
Again, I think it's important to mention that the designated Terminator hasn't even figured in the bout so far. Nobody's had a submission hold for that length of time.
Well, this one started out as an Australian Rules Tag Team event. In principle, it has turned into a Texas Tornado Tag where all four in the ring simultaneously. Muta says that's all for Sting as Flair and Funk continue to beat each other to a pulp. Watch Muta on top. Oh, Lord. Well, if they have a boys' choir in Tokyo, he'll be a tenor.
Yes, sir.
And here comes a figure four from Flair.
There it is. As you said, on that leg, Jim. Boy, you call that one.
Right there. He's got the figure four.
Look at Hart over there shaking his head and saying, no, no way.
Sting coming off on Funk. Funk is being brutalized. He is literally being brutalized. And Gary Hart is not even have an inkling to throw the towel in. Once again, right off the top. Bruno just tagged Muta. He just nailed it. Flair has got the figure four locked in so deeply. There's Ole Anderson. There's a towel.
But the towel went up.
The towel's going in.
Did he do it on purpose? I don't think he did. It must have been by an accident.
The match is over. The match is over.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the Thunderdome match, the team of Sting and the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next event here on World Championship Wrestling is your TV main event. Introducing the Pearl of the Orient from the land of the rising sun, Gary Hart presents the Great Muta.
Really big. One of the most outstanding main events we have had in many, many years here now on World Championship Wrestling. Remember, this man has not been pinned. Let's go back to Rhubarb.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the heavyweight champion of the world from Charlotte, North Carolina, it's Nature Boy Ric Flair.
There he is, the incomparable Space Mountain. Every adjective that has been used to describe that man is certainly a deserving one.
It certainly is, Jim, but the main thing that I want to describe Ric Flair that makes him stand out and makes him a champ is one word: conditioning.
Flair's really back with a special challenge event. And we're back here, ladies and gentlemen. Flair rolling to the ropes. Muta maintained the pressure throughout the commercial break, and with those thoughts in mind, I don't know how much more Flair can take, to be quite honest about it. His legs have really been mangled by Muta.
Jim, Muta's taking something out of Terry Funk's book. Terry Funk worked on the outside of the ring with Flair and had great success. I guess not.
Flair trying to chop his way back into the match. Big right hand by Muta's top. Puts Flair on his back. And Muta also goes down. They are both on the outside here, and Tommy Young is exercising a 10 count.
Let's see who's got the guts to get up first.
Well, they're both up as seemingly simultaneously as Flair back in the ring first. Here comes Muta, but Flair is still having difficulty standing. Well, big chops by both men. And a right hand. Oh, that karate kick. An American right, an Oriental kick, and Flair leaps on Muta. The adrenaline rush of the world's champion, and now he's breaking the rules. And he sends Muta outside.
And Muta needs to stay outside as long as he can, break the pace. Flair's got something going, get away from the bad mistake on Muta's part.
Fans here on the program next week, Lex Luger says he'll defend the U.S. Championship. We'll see Gary Hart's Army in a 6-man match. And the Midnight Express scheduled to wrestle the Dynamic Dudes. That and much more here next week on World Championship Wrestling.
I think we're seeing the end of the unbeaten streak coming up pretty quick. He's setting him up for the figure 4.
Inverted atomic drop by the Nature Boy. Limping noticeably. And the Great Muta is in a great deal of pain and anxiety here because Flair has taken over. Oh, these chops.
I've been hit with that, and it just drives it right down to your shoestrings.
I'm not envious of knowing that. I say I never want to feel that. Ever in my life, that's got to be just horrendous. And Flair now working on that leg. Those chops are just brutalized. But look, he's working on that, Kevin. We know what that's leading to.
It certainly is. And these guys are giving it what was billed at, Jim. The undefeated against the top dog. This is what it's all about.
The Great Muta putting his unpinned streak on the line against the #1 man in the sport. The heavyweight champion of the world who now has firmly reasserted himself as the man.
I think he was selling that to Lex Luger to let him know he hasn't forgotten about him and he's waiting for that confrontation too.
We know that Flair is looking forward to wrestling Luger and Muta. We heard his comments. I found it most innocent. He said at Starrcade when he and Sting wrestle, they'll let it all out just like they did back in early 1988.
One of the greatest matches I've ever witnessed.
First Clash of Champions from Greensboro. We ever aired here on TBS. Flair and Sting with 45 minutes with a draw as the conclusion. But Flair with a right hand not going for a draw here. He wants to go into the book as the man, the first man to pin Muta. And he is hammering away with that thought in mind, but Muta reverses. Flair upside down. He rolls down the apron. Up on top is Flair. Big elbow. Muta cover.
I think this is he's setting him up. It's getting over. As he says, I think he's going to take him to school right now.
The crowd here standing, many of them, they know what's coming up. He drives a knee into the thigh muscle. He locks it up.
He's holding it. Mr. J-Tex, Flair beat him to the punch. Flair beat him to the punch.
The Dragon Master came to the ring, but Flair, suspecting what might happen, has won this one by disqualification. Muta has still not been pinned.
And Flair, he's going to break his leg. He's going to break his leg, Jim. He's sending it this to Muta and Hart.
He's got the figure 4 of the Dragon Master on the floor. But Muta's behind. What's Muta doing? He just sprayed him right in the face with a red. It was green earlier, now it's a red. There's Buzz Sawyer. God, I wish Sting was there. He had the lead. Flair's face is red from that spray. They are trying to devastate the champion. They don't want Flair to make it to Starrcade cut, obviously, Kevin.
Obviously they don't, Jim. And the dog float.
Buzz Sawyer right off the top on Flair. Here comes some help from the locker room. But the Dragon Master he's beating people to death. Buzz Sawyer is just trying to Flair out. The crowd chanting, "We want Sting! We want Sting! He's not here!" They don't know he's not here.
Let me ask you this, Jim. Is he not here? Or has he maybe cowered out?
Kevin, I'll disagree there. Vehemently, he has not cowered out. But the point here is that Ric Flair has been brutalized. Flair has been just pummeled here on World Championship Wrestling by 4 individuals.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner and still champion, Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest in the singles competition set for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Gary Hart presents from the land of the rising sun, the Pearl of the Orient, the Great Muta.
Well, we have a Scrooge look-alike in Gary Hart and a Santa Claus look-alike in
Yes, we do. We certainly do, you know. And I'll tell you what, Ric Flair is fixing to come out here right now. And I'll say one thing. He's a tough competitor, and he's as good as there is.
Wrestling fans, his opponent from Charlotte, North Carolina, weighing 242 pounds. And for the 6th time, he is the World Heavyweight Champion, Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Nature Boy Ric Flair to take on the unpinned Great Muta. Gary Hart, and we know Flair has had quite a situation with Hart, but there's nobody in the sport that knows more about Ric Flair. There's old Norman.
There's old Norman, and there's the Horseman right behind Flair too, because he knows that Hart might be a factor in there.
Arn and Ole Anderson at ringside. Ric Flair and the Great Muta. I'll tell you something. If the 15-minute time limit affects anyone negatively, Ric Flair is probably the guy that affects the most. Would you not agree, Terry?
I agree with you the same way. You know, but competition spawns respect. I respect Ric Flair because of the competitiveness that he's shown me. That's the only reason.
Side headlock by Flair. Muta shoots him off. And Flair tried a hip lock, but Muta nailed him, I think, right in the eye.
Nice block by Muta right there. Right back up on top of him with those kicks, karate kicks. And look how quick and rapid. You talk about offensive.
Flair into the corner. Muta handspring elbow, nailed him in the chest. This one, 15-minute time limit, as we said. Muta geared up for it, starting out very quickly. Flair, normally a little slower starter. He likes to wrestle longer time limits, but this may be to Muta's advantage.
He can have a long time limit. He's got to be offensive. There they are trading those chops. I've been on the receiving end of some of those chops, and believe me, they'll make you dizzy and spin your head on you.
Inverted atomic drop, Great Muta in trouble. Big chop by Flair. And the Nature Boy now, already going to work on the leg. He has accelerated his game plan immensely in this contest. Now going to work on the leg. The figure four, here it comes. Already, the figure four and Gary Hart.
He's got it on him, he's got it locked on him.
Gary Hart is mostly
He's in tremendous pain right now.
Here comes Buzz Sawyer and the Dragon Master, but Ole and Arn Anderson have headed him off at the pass.
They're right on top of him right now. J-Tex is down there. This is massive. This is mass or mass confusion or whatever.
Arn Anderson and Buzz Sawyer hooking it up, but it's Muta with a backbreaker on Nature Boy Ric Flair. And now Muta goes up to the top. Here comes the moonsault. He's up, high risk move.
This is
Flair. Oh, Flair pulled up the knees.
What a move by Ric Flair.
Flair pulled up the knees. Muta is hurt. Flair inside cradle. 1, 2, 3. Flair has pinned Muta.
He got it. He got the pin. Look at Gary Hart. Look at that slam ball.
20 points. Nature Boy.
Look at Ric Flair. He's the winner.
Set for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Gary Hart presents from the land of the rising sun, the Pearl of the Orient, the Great Muta. And his opponent from Venice Beach, California, weighing 255 pounds, this is Sting.
Well, Terry Funk, the Stinger, who lost his first round match to Lex Luger. Stinger has no points, and neither does the Great Muta. That makes this a very important event.
Strategically speaking, these men both need a win, and a loss to either one of these will possibly put them out. Possibly, I say. Not definitely, but possibly. For we could have a four-man tie tonight with each individual with 20 points.
Sting and the Great Muta are no strangers, quite obviously. Muta, the TV champion. He won it right here in the Omni in very controversial style against Sting some months ago.
Sting has, not Sting, but excuse me, but Muta has a one-loss record over Sting right now, doesn't he?
But Terry, he does. But he has also been pinned by Ric Flair early in the competition. Will that affect his mental state right now by losing his first one earlier?
Well, you got to look at Sting, too. You think about the match that he had with Luger. That was a long match, almost 15 minutes. Both of them fighting, very aggressive, both of them offensive. Muta's match went very short, so I'm sure that Muta has a little bit more left in him at this particular time.
I would have to agree that Muta's match probably took less out of him than did Sting's first match with Lex Luger. Full Nelson by Sting. Back in the corner. Will we get a clean break? No! Mule kick right there, and that's suddenly Muta has turned the table.
Muta has so many different techniques that he uses in that ring. There's a kick, chops, flips. Dadgum, I wish I could do some of that stuff, Jim Ross.
Side headlock by Muta, taking Sting over. Both these guys like the aerial tactics. They like to take chances. And at this point in time, and as the time limit progresses, Terry, I think we'll see both these guys taking more chances than normal.
As the time goes down, they have to. What good would a draw do either one of these men? Whenever that time starts running down, if it gets to 10 minutes, 5 minutes, you're going to see these guys trying anything.
Nice football tackle by Muta, who goes to the other side. Sting with a great leapfrog. He was up in the air. He's elevated Muta. What a move there. What strength in Sting's legs. And a clothesline. Down goes the Pearl of the Orient. Snap suplex by Muta, or by Sting. Muta down, Sting on top, got two.
Picking him back up.
Pace in these matches, unbelievably quick.
How would you like to wrestle 45 minutes like this, Jim, at this speed? And that's what each man is going to have to do, or darn close to it.
Atomic drop. I wouldn't like it, to answer your question whatsoever. Not my cup of tea, Terry.
You know, Jim, I like right where I am right now. You know, I kind of like this announcer stuff.
Uh-oh, Scorpion Deathlock. He's going for it, trying to turn him over. Muta fighting for the ropes, and he's made it. Sting tried to go for the Scorpion, but Muta very quickly got to the ropes, which will cause the break.
There's a young wrestler in Sting, but he is so seasoned. Do you see how he just kind of lulled that Muta into that position, and finally he went for that deathlock right there and nearly caught it on him before he knew what happened.
Muta shaking it loose here a little bit. Gary Hart very stoic at ringside. The earlier altercation involving Hart's J-Tex and the Andersons was quite volatile. I hope we don't see a reoccurrence of that as Muta makes his way back to the ring.
I like the outcome of that, and I'll tell you what, that slime ball deserved it all. And whenever I'm talking about slime ball, I'm talking about Gary Hart.
Both men very cautious at this juncture. Collar and elbow tie-up, and Muta rakes the eyes.
Take both of these wrestlers. I am telling you that you people will be hearing their names. These will be spotlighted wrestlers through the entire 90s. You know, it's Starrcade 89, but it's really telling you, hey, 90, here comes the NWA.
The decade of the 90s is going to be certainly exciting for us at World Championship Wrestling and Turner Home Entertainment. The glistening bald head of Gary Hart. Great elbow there by Muta, power drive elbow, and Sting in a very helpless state right here.
I've never seen anybody get the torque that Muta does on that elbow. What a beautiful move this is. This is a submission hold right here.
A submission gives you 20 points. A submission or a pinfall victory will get you 20 points. And the Stinger, his face there tells that story. He is being punished, Terry Funk.
That Matt's taking that paint right off of his face. I kind of like that maneuver right there.
Great Muta using a bridge.
Beautiful wrestling bridge right there with both of those arms chicken wing.
I've got to think that Sting would pass out before he would give it up. There's that much emotion in this night.
These fans are getting behind him, and I'll tell you what, I don't disagree with that award that said he was the most popular wrestler.
Sting, great reversal. They reverse it over. Those are American right hands on the Pearl of the Orient. Straight rights to the native of Venice Beach, California, who has now made his way back to a vertical base, and he is on the attack. I think he senses that the momentum is turning.
So athletic and supple. I mean, that boy has tremendous athletic ability. He's right back on top of him right now.
Sting now controlling the action, sending Muta for the ride. He's got him up. Great strength with a military press and the slam. Lateral press. 1, 2, but Muta kicked out. What a great athlete. As a matter of fact, what a pair of great athletes. We're seeing laying it all on the line here. Scoop slam. High elbow, and he nailed it.
I'll tell you what, it's a shame that that man right there is with either one of them.
Another lateral press. Sting now to the reverse chin lock, trying to weaken Muta further. We know he will not beat him with this maneuver, but Terry, you've been in there so many times, it will weaken an opponent.
Right now, Sting's got to be thinking, what in the world am I going to do? How can I catch this guy? This guy's got so much ability. What can I do? I've got to think ahead of what he's thinking and try to cop a fall on him. I need a fall. Muta's thinking the same thing.
Let's break the hold.
Muta pushing Sting back to the corner. Referee asking for a clean break. Not surprisingly, he did not get one.
Watch for some quick moves right here. Muta has to start making some quick moves on him, driving him through the ropes. Watch out for Hart. Watch out. Watch out.
Referee, let him see the fingers. Let him see the fingers.
Hart, you can hear Hart. He's giving him some visual signals there. That's like a baseball coach would give a third base coach would give a batter or something.
He's giving him some stupid advice that he doesn't need. I'll tell you what he's giving him.
Big shot by Muta. Sting now in that corner as Muta hammers away. Both these men lost their first round match by pinfall. Sting was beaten by Luger. Muta was beaten by Flair. Both men have no points thus far. They both need a win in the most desperate way, and now he's going up again. Moonsault. He went for it against Flair. Sting moved, and Muta landed on his feet and nailed him with that karate kick right to the face.
He didn't make the same mistake that time. He was watching for those knees or watching for that movement, and when it came, he brought those feet back in underneath him.
Sting! He drop kicked Muta right off the top, and he straddles the steel cable there. What a disadvantage Muta is in now. Superplex time. Will he be able to get him up? Yes, he can. Superplex. Sting, can he do it? 1, 2, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match by pinfall, the scoring 20 points is Sting.
Picked him up and superplexed him right off the top of that rope.
The Road Warriors have 20, but they still have another match to wrestle. But right now, it's going to be the Great Muta and Lex Luger. Let's go back to Gary Cappetta.
Wrestling fans, the following contest in Starrcade 89. It is set for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Making their way toward the ring, Gary Hart presents, from the land of the rising sun, the Pearl of the Orient, the Great Muta! And his opponent, from Chicago, Illinois, weighing 275 pounds, he is the United States Heavyweight Champion, the Total Package, Lex Luger!
All right, Terry Funk, Lex Luger with a total of 25 points. Flair's got 25, Sting's got 20. The Great Muta has been shut out thus far. But look at Luger limping to the ring. His leg was punished by the figure 4 by Ric Flair. This may give the advantage to the Great Muta.
It sure might. You know, this is a Starrcade champion of the 90s, and it'll be determined in the next 30 minutes. You talk about a hot 30 minutes on television, a hot 30 minutes on pay-per-view. We're fixing to take a look at them, and it's amazing that you take Muta, who is sitting there with no points, eyeing this man right now, and he is so competitive, he wants to take and send this Luger home with nothing.
Terry, you saw Lex Luger favoring his knee as he came into the ring very cautiously, climbing the stairs. He usually doesn't even use the stairs, but I think that the figure 4 by Ric Flair in the latter stages of their match perhaps has caused that man more pain and more damage than we realized at the time.
Look at his eyes. Did you see those eyes right then? There's a question in those eyes. They just aren't quite as confident as they were a little while ago.
Muta and Luger. First time ever for these two men to wrestle. You're seeing it live as it happens right here at Starrcade 89 Future Shock. Remember that Lance Russell and Joe Pedicino are calling the action on the 900 hotline, and we will have a live post-clash or post-Starrcade program. We are live, so I have that
yes, we are. We
stumble
sure
occasionally. But Lance and Joe are having a great time calling this on the hotline. We hope you'll call it, hear how they're calling it, and listen for the post-game show right after we go off the air.
You know, I can kind of stumble and fumble once in a while too there, Mr. Ross. If you look at Muta right now, you'll see a man that has been going all night long. You'll see Luger. They're in the third round of this tournament. And believe me, it's taking its toll. All of those forearms, all of those chops, all of everything, those slams, all of those punches. And you have to suck it up right now, and you find out who's the fittest.
Luger the leapfrog on the bad knee, but he went down. He went down, and the knee has got to be the object now of the great Muta. Muta working on the leg of Lex Luger. Luger is in trouble as Muta now is like a man possessed. He is so focused on the leg of Luger.
He's like a cat with his prey right there. He knows what he has, and he knows what he's going for.
Muta working on the ankle, which also in that particular position puts a lot of stress on the knee, taking it against the grain. But Luger raked the eyes of Muta.
Luger knows that if he can get a win right here, he ensures himself a tie in this tournament. Ensures himself a tie. If he can get a pinfall right here, do you know that, Jim?
Or a submission victory.
Or a submission victory, he is in. But it's awful hard to do when you're in the pain that he is.
Luger crawls outside the ring, but Muta very quickly out there to attack him. It's Muta with the kicks right to the knee.
He held on for that draw. He held on for that draw. But holding on to that might have cost him more in this match. But he had no choice. It was either the submission or to make it through to a draw.
Muta working on the leg of Luger. Referee Nick Patrick. Outstanding job done by both these officials tonight. They have had a great deal of pressure on them because every match is a main event. And there he goes back to work on it. Terry, that puts a lot of pressure on the knee.
You bet it does, on the knee and on the ankle. But I'll tell you, the knee pressure, he's using that for leverage right there. Whenever he's out, the further he can get on the end of that toe, the more leverage that he has, Jim. The more pressure that you can put on the knee and on that cartilage.
Luger goes to the ropes, is going to break the hold. It was a step over toe hold by Muta momentarily.
Bring it up, Muta.
Muta comes down on the leg, right across the bottom rope.
Back it up right now, Muta.
You can hear Nick Patrick on him calling for that break, and he's right on top of him. Hadn't it been great officiating, like you said, Jim? Great job tonight.
They have a very unenviable job, no doubt about it. And Luger pulls his way back up, and Muta, I think, was a little surprised there. Luger with a healthy leg, nailed him in the midsection, and now Luger, who's up to that vertical base, let's see how he can operate with one bad wheel. It can't. He's hurt.
Come on, Lex. You want me to stop the match? You want me to stop it, Lex?
Referee's asking him if he wants to stop the match. He can't stop this match right now. I know Lex Luger well enough to know that he'll never stop this match. I don't care if he has one leg.
Luger, the $1 million property. Well, I tell you, we want to thank all the fans for being with us here on our pay-per-view broadcast. Our next one, by the way, is on February 25th. Wrestle War 90. And Muta hammers and kicks away. Luger rising to a vertical base. He has enough awareness to try to get back to his feet. He's in a big disadvantage when he's on.
Yes, he is, and right back to that leg again, right back in there with those kicks. You know, I'll guarantee you that this man knows so many leg holds. Muta does.
Handspring elbow. Muta playing the role of the spoiler in this tournament at this juncture. And now Muta working on the leg of Flair.
Or Luger, excuse me.
2.
Wouldn't that be something if he upset that Luger right now? Wouldn't that be something very possible?
It is. It certainly is, especially with the shape that Luger's in. You can hear him breathing. The cameras and our microphones taking you right inside the ring.
You could hear me. You could hear me crying in pain right now. Dadgummit, boy, I know what Lex is going through because I've been in that position before.
Luger raked the eyes out of desperation, Terry, and that freed him from the maneuver. Now Luger has got to mount some offense. I don't know what he can do, but he's got to mount some offense, and it looks like it's going to have to be on the mat because he can barely stand. 1, 2.
2 count.
Didn't really have it executed there. He's hurt.
Nice quick move by him. A nice quick side sweep by Muta right there. You know, the fans, they don't care for either one of these people, do they?
No. They are watching this match much like they did the Steiners and the Road Warriors out of pure interest. They don't care which of these two guys get beat up. They didn't want to see either the Steiners or the Road Warriors get beat up. But right here, they're enjoying this one.
This is that odd matchup, one of those odd matchups that you've been talking about Starrcade and how wonderful it's going to be and how many different matches we're going to get to see that we've never seen before.
He pulled him right out of the corner, Terry, and now the great Muta must go for the kill here as the clock continues to roll by. Half Boston Crab trying to turn him over, and he did.
Come on, Lex, come on. What do you say, Luger? No. Come on, I can bring that down now. What do you say?
No. Referee in great position.
Come on, Lex Luger.
Preventive officiating to ask Luger if he wants to give it up.
No. What do you say, Lex?
That's a difficult position to be in to try to do anything because you got that leg pulled up and you can't really reach back with your hands and grab anything right there. This even makes it more difficult.
Muta got those legs grapevine. Will he go back with it? Oh, submission move right here, Terry.
All right.
Reverse chin lock, and those legs like a modified Indian death lock.
It's an inverted Indian death lock is what that is, an inverted Indian death lock.
I remember in Toronto, Canada, you had a match with Harley Race. He utilized that maneuver. It's got to be one of the most painful wrestling holds in our sport.
I seriously don't want to remember that Toronto match because that's where I lost the heavyweight championship. But look at the score. Flair 25, Luger 25, and Sting 20. And Muta out of it, but fighting every bit of the way, trying to go ahead and grab that victory just for his own personal Japanese pride.
And you can bet that the Japanese writers and photographers are here. We said our great friend Dennis Brent for the wrestling wrap-up, George Napolitano, Bill Apter, many, many others.
4 minutes remaining to time limit, 4 minutes.
The world's most dangerous announcer, Gary Capetta. Let's let us in our 4 minutes left, Harry.
4 minutes left, and if you notice how many of these matches have closed in on that time limit, but as that time limit gets closer and closer, they become more and more offensive. And sometimes whenever you become more offensive, the more apt you are to make a mistake, and that's what's happened is mistakes.
The U.S. champion fighting back against the world television champion. And oh boy, the great reverse karate kick, and it caught Luger right in the face. So whatever offense Luger was able to muster for those few seconds was quickly snuffed out by the Pearl of the Orient.
Snuffed it right out, and we're down very close to that 3-minute mark again. Muta getting back up to his feet. Luger hurting now.
There are 3 minutes remaining to time limit. 3 minutes.
Muta with a drop kick at the 3-minute mark. Muta with the drop kick. 180 seconds and counting. And Luger trying to pull his way back up. That was his first big offensive move.
About 45 minutes.
Wow, what a clothesline. As Gordon Sully, who we'll hear from later, would say, because he nailed it.
He sure did. About 40 minutes for both of these men tonight at 100%. at 100 miles an hour, and both of them are feeling their wares right now.
Luger fighting back, kicking downstairs in the solar plexus. Follows with the right hand, and Muta with a big chop. Luger with the right. Muta now staggered. You don't want to get the fisticuff with Luger because Luger will have the advantage.
Come on, Lex, you need a win here. He's been my favorite all the way. He's got to grab a win.
2 minutes remaining to time limit.
With a pinfall or submission victory, he can win at the Ironman here. High elevation. That is, if my math is right. We could tie for it, I think. Boy, this thing is coming right down. You got to be a mathematician. And
you sure do.
There goes Muta for the ride. Luger drops down. Nice hip lock takeover. Modified version. Muta trying to get out of it. Luger throws him outside to the floor. Gary Hart helping Muta back in the ring. Referee Nick Patrick keeping an eye on it. Downstairs goes Muta. High up and over. Luger. Luger did not get to use the rope. Sunset flip 1, 2, and Luger just barely kicked out. I mean, barely kicked out. Muta going for the upset here. Muta playing the spoiler role. Sent for the rock.
1 minute remaining. 1 minute.
1 minute remaining. The power slam. And now he's going to go for the rack. Does he have enough strength to go for the rack in his leg? He could not get him up. He just blew the mist right in his face.
He just blew it all over him right then.
I think that'll be a disqualification. Let's hear from Gary Capetta.
He just blew it all over him right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Great Muta has been disqualified. The winner of the match and picking up 10 points, the total